Welcome back. Thanks for waiting, everybody. And I will turn it over to Ms. Anderson for a report out.
Thank you. So for items 1 and 3, direction was given to staff, and I'll turn it over to Mr. City Manager for item 2.
Thank you. For item number 2, direction was also provided to staff, and in that vein, a near-term closed session will be scheduled so that the City Council may continue their recruitment and selection process.
Thank you very much. And with that, we will end the closed session and we will open the open session. Great. Mr. Montgomery, roll call, please.
Yes, Mayor. Mayor Gilman.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lang.
Here.
Councilmember Rule.
Here.
Councilmember Whitman.
Here.
Councilmember Mang.
Here.
And would you please lead us in the pledge?
Yes,
Thank
Mayor.
you.
Welcome, community. Please rise as you are able. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can I have an approval of the agenda?
Mayor?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Please do.
May staff respectfully request that we withdraw item number 7?
Yes.
We will bring this item back. We've noticed a couple of
Got it.
errors we'd like to correct.
Thank you. 7's removed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else on the agenda?
I'll move to approve it.
I'll second. All those in favor? Aye.
I'm abstaining.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Whitman, Ms. Mang?
I said aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right, great. Any commission reports?
None, Mayor.
City manager's report.
Yes, Mayor. I would like to report out that I'm appreciative of the city sending me to the League of California Cities Conference this past week, where I was able to network with colleagues and spend some time with my 2 council members who went, Mayor Pro Tem Lang and Councilmember Whitman. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, well, I'll go to public communications. These are items that are not on the agenda. And I'll start with Ron Solarzano, please, and then Kathleen Nolan, and then Larry Steingold. Hello.
All right. Hello, members of council. My name is Ron Solorsino. I am the regional librarian for the Ojai Valley. And I wanted to give you a little update on what we have going on at the library. To begin, I want to talk about a special event that we have coming up in early November. On Saturday, November 8th, we are going to have local author Amanda R. Edwards, who's going to come to the library to talk about her book, Quiet Voice, Awesome Power. So as a description here, author and mystic Amanda R. Edwards approaches human spiritual gifts with both delight and practical wisdom for the very real crises of our era. From elucidating your mysterious encounters to teaching simple practices to boost your spirit connection, Amanda aims to equip you for full body-mind-spirit engagement with the world. Join this conversation about her book with curiosity and even a bit of skepticism to learn about the power you might not realize we all hold. So this is, again, we're bringing a local author to the library to talk about their book on Saturday, November the 8th. That's going to be at 2 p.m. In addition, we have our continuing slate of programs at the library. We have, of course, our story times on Wednesday mornings. We have our pause for reading, where children can read to a therapy dog, also on Wednesdays in the afternoon. We have our enrichment center going on in the afternoons Monday through Thursday. We have a few items for adults as well, our ukulele club on Mondays, and then the poetry readings on the third Tuesdays. Just a lot going on. It's all still on our website. Also, you all have probably continued to be aware that we are planning an upcoming renovation. Unfortunately, we still do not have details on exactly when that's going to start, but we are hoping to have all of our logistics sorted out by then. Right now, my guess is it would be no earlier than the end of November, But
Okay.
as details are available, we will send them out.
The
So,
sorting
yes.
out or the beginning of the construction by the end of November?
We're hoping to start construction by the end of November.
Thank you.
But again, that depends on how the plans come and go and
Okay.
what changes need to be made.
Understood.
But that's all I have for now.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you Yeah.
Appreciate it. Kathy Nolan, please, and then Larry Stangold.
Council,
Hello.
staff, Kathy Nolan. I'm here representing the Ojai Valley Green Coalition. I'm actually here with an announcement and an invitation. I wanted to let you know that, I was here in August and I did a presentation on the 8-acre campus master plan process, and that was the schematic drawings. We have now moved on to a concept drawing. So on October 25th, it's a Saturday, we actually have 3 related events that I wanted to share. The first one is we have a volunteer cleanup day. We actually had one, I guess it was that 2 weeks ago. Mayor Gilman was there. But we're doing another one from 8:30 to 11, and it's going to be in the restoration area. And we do require registration if you're interested. And I'll give you our website name when I'm done. But you can go to the register. And then that same day from 10 to 10:45, no registration required, I'm going to be doing a site tour of the campus. So people can meet me. It'll be out front of City Hall. This is on our website as well. And we're going to walk and show basically kind of the lay of the land. What's here. Surprisingly, a lot of people don't even know that this jewel is located here. So there'll be that. And then from 10:45 to 2 p.m. inside of our conference room right here at Kent Hall, we are going to have an open house and present a concept plan, but in addition, our process drawings, so people can come and take a look, they can ask questions, and then we're also going to be having a programming survey there to get further information from people. And then in addition, we're going to be posting the plans and the survey online. So if somebody can't actually attend, they will have a chance to do that. We're going to run that through the end of November. Let's see what else. Oh, and then just 2 other exciting things that are coming up. But it's student related, but I just thought I would share it. In November, so November 15th and 22nd on 2 Saturday mornings, we're partnering, and this is all with the city of Ojai, but also PAX Environmental is partnering with us on the volunteer days. But the student days will be, it's an education day, so they'll learn some information about the restoration project, and they're going to collect acorns and plant acorns because they need to restock some that didn't make it over the last cycle. So it's a really good opportunity. We're reaching out to actually all the high schools, but we're limiting it to 15 students at a time just so it's manageable. And then I do want to say, even though it's not on our website yet, we are planning to do more kind of volunteer education days and hopefully ongoing. So people get, they can come and they want to get their hands dirty or they just want
Thank you so much. Appreciate all you're doing. And then Larry Stangold, please.
Good evening, Larry Steingold. A couple of questions, please. Status of the Carl Almeida investigation. Where is that? I'm assuming that because nothing has been going on that we've heard of, which doesn't mean anything. There's probably may not be anything there, but maybe there is. Anyway, the status of all the lawsuits are more where they are and the costs of those lawsuits, and what would be the downside or the what's the word I'm looking for? Liability to the city if losses. Also, the consent calendar seems to be growing by leaps and bounds, and I quite honestly don't think how you all can handle all that besides your living in lives and what have you. It just seems that it's overwhelming, and by consent, it really doesn't come up. It's just sort of like we look at it and say, yeah, go for it. And some of those are very prudent and very proper, but some of them seem to be more involved. And so I would please urge you to have less in the consent calendar that seem to be more involved. So,
Thank you, Mr. Stangold.
thank you.
Anything online?
Mayor, we have no raised hands, but we do have some Zoom participants in our hybrid format. Zoom participants, we are taking public comments for our general public comment period. And we'll just give you one moment if you were intending on raising your hand.
And while we're waiting for that, Mayor, I can respond to
Please.
the
Thank you.
Kroll report, and Mr. Alameda is tentatively scheduled for the December meeting.
Thank you.
And no raised hands, Mayor. We can move on.
Thanks for that. So now on to this consent calendar that we hear rumors about. Its size. No, it is large. I agree with that. Is there anything anybody would like to pull from consent?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I would like to pull number 6 and number 12.
Number 6 and number 12. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I would like to pull numbers 1 and 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna pull 6, but it's already been pulled.
Great. No, take your time.
As Mr. Steingold says, I do agree it's a lot of stuff.
Oh, your microphone, please. Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
No worries.
I agree with Mr. Steingold, so much stuff. I just had some questions on what is this? Item 6.
Okay.
And what are we have through 12? Did they say number 9?
No?
I have an issue, a question on that.
Okay. So I'll pull number 9.
Okay.
Okay.
And Rachel pulled 11, right? So that's
No.
No.
I pulled 12.
12.
So
Let's
11.
see.
That's
Wait
the
a
trolley
second.
driver.
Oh, 12, that's, okay. Okay, 12, not 11, I'm sorry.
No problem. Okay. So tell me, let me make sure I got it correct. We have not pulled 3, 4, 5. 7 was pulled by the city manager. We have not pulled 8, 10, and 11.
That sounds right.
Oh, I do want to pull number.
Number 11. Okay.
And I guess I'm going to pull number 14.
This is
That's
crazy.
that's not consent.
Wait,
That's not
that's not
consent,
in the
that's-
consent.
Oh, great, very good.
Okay.
And also the custom built. Yeah, number.
So
Oh.
number 8. All right. So then I'm going to say it one more time. We have not pulled 3, 4, 5, and 10.
I'll move to approve those 3.
Okay.
Or those 3, 4, 5,
Second.
and
3,
10.
4, 5, and 10.
On
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, and 10. Okay.
I'm abstaining.
Okay. All those in favor? Oh, Mr. Montgomery, please. Why don't you call?
Yes, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Lang.
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman.
Yes.
Councilmember Rule.
Abstaining.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Councilmember Mang.
Yes.
Mayor Gilman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. So then I want to ask Ms. Anderson something, just because I keep forgetting how to do this part. So with items pulled from consent, would I ask for public comments on each item as we discuss it?
That's up to you, Mayor. You could,
Mhm.
since they're all on consent, you can ask for
Any comments on anything that we are
on the
going to
consent
discuss right now?
calendar. If you'd prefer to take public comment on each of them individually, you may do that as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm opting for the all at once for the obvious reason. So I guess that's going to be my invitation to the audience. Does anyone want to speak on any of these consent items that we are going to discuss? Please come up. Thank you, Mr. Miley.
And Mayor, I'll speak to our Zoom participants. We are
Okay.
taking public comment on all consent calendar items.
Thanks.
Maybe not all consent, right? Just
Except
those that were
3,
pulled.
4, 5, and 10. Thank you, Mr. Miley.
Hello,
Pete.
this is item 12.
Okay.
I didn't expect to see this, even though the city recruited from Fillmore recently. There was no comment about the local recruitment challenges. And there's a section I wonder about. It's titled Contractors' Responsibilities. Looks like they're paying some benefits. Are we paying benefits? Also, the money charge confusing. $59 a day? What are they paying their drivers? How's that compared to what we're paying our driver? Maybe now is the opportunity to get public details on our trolley driver recruitment and management of the system, e.g., number of drivers employed, number being trained, number of applicants over the last 6 months, number of completed training and driving, number rejected for less than acceptable credentials, and what were the rejected reasons. And where's the brand new position that we're going to offer with benefits? Where's that? My opinion, it looks to me like there's a policy direction going on here for a full-time use of the transit company for our system, and this is the first stage. That's not good. Okay, item number 11, survey question. For the economic diversification part of the general plan. Seems to me that the Ojai Valley Chamber of Commerce should be consulted on these survey questions. They're the center of our economic energy. Please involve them. See, I guess that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Miley. Mr. Steingold, I have a card for you for number 12. Thanks.
Thank you. I agree with Mr. Miley on a lot of the things. My question is, because we do subcontract lots of things here, I mean, if we're going to do a better system, or are we going to subcontract or not? And maybe we should, or maybe we shouldn't. But I think getting proposals that benefit the city from outside sources need to be compared to what we're doing. Just on the basic fact of transparency about putting it out to bid. Does anybody want to be our subcontractor for 2 buses, 3 buses? Here's our schedule. This is what we want, and what's the cost, and can you deliver, and can you do it better than we can? And if you can, fine. If you can't, then do it in-house. But I think that's part of it. And on General 11, just keep doing what you're doing and finding out who wants to come here and try to make that happen.
Thank you, Mr. Steingold. Anything online? No?
No, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay. So let's start with number 1.
Okay, I'll jump right in.
Please.
I would like to ask the finance department at some point to categorize these amounts by sort of sector, like how much are we spending on legal? How much are we spending on investigative processes? How much are we, so there's just a lot of, alphabetical is not really kind of helping me. So for instance, I'd like to know, how much we have spent on Kroll so far for forensic financial investigation. I know that that's coming up, so we'll be discussing that because I assume that forensic financial investigation was with our assistant city manager, Carl Alameda. But those are big numbers. And then we have Liebert, Cassidy, and Whitmore, July and August 2025 investigative services. That's 20,000, and I think that they've shown up at other. I'd have to go through the rest of the warrants, but I'd like, if not by sector, at least by company, so I can get a sense of how much we're actually spending on this. I'm sure that it will be itemized. I'd just like it itemized in a different way.
So maybe,
Please.
sorry, if I
No,
could
go.
ask some clarifying questions. So the warrant register is a recounting of checks that were already mailed out. And I think what you're asking for is a little bit different. It's related but different. What you're asking for is like a quarterly report or a biannual report by vendor, perhaps, if that vendor was paid more than once. I'm just trying to freestyle as to so.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe perhaps what we could do, if you're okay with it, is come back with a concept review item so we get this right as to how you want this report to appear. Is that acceptable?
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay,
I
we can
think
do
that
that.
would be very, very helpful
Sure.
because I end up making these lists of amounts.
Sure.
And then I calculate them, and then I'm pretty sure that the dates are okay, but then I
Sure.
have to go back and check the warrant to make sure that I got the date okay, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it would be helpful to
Mhm.
have something formatted, you know, in a spreadsheet that would help me.
That would be great.
Yeah. And then secondarily, I noticed two things with Myers Nave, that we have 3 warrants from them in a total of, and that is our attorneys who are working on the reimbursement mediation situation with myself and the city, that we are at in the last 3, September 9th, August 12th, and July, but it's got a September date. We're at 16,365. I was not in that closed session, but I hope that we're getting our money's worth on that, because I would say we are now probably in the area of $170,000 paid out to law firms on this mediation, and I know from my team exactly where we are. So I just want to point that out as for transparency, that it is it's costing. And secondarily, I see that we have a $10,000 item for California consulting for grant writing. Does
Tell us
I
about
may
that.
be just drawing a blank, but I know that we talked about getting a grant writer, but I know
Yes.
California Consulting does specific types of grant writing.
So they look. So this is a check to pay for their services for. I can't remember the term. It might be in their annual fee. They derive money, very nominal amount for their annual fee, and then a portion of a grant if they do. If they are successful in landing it. So we have a bi-weekly meeting with them where they're scouring every and any type of grant that might be something that's applicable to us.
Have they written a grant for us as to date?
We've got a couple in the pipeline.
Okay.
So I hope to have some news on that shortly.
And can you refresh my memory as to like what their specialty is? I know I read about it all the time.
It's across the board, but so for instance, the 2 that are in the pipeline, one relates to it's like a tree planting reimbursement grant. Another relates to infrastructure, if it's specialized asphalt. I mean, there's all types of opportunities that just simply would apply to the city.
Okay.
I think you're asking a good question, though. At some point, you would want to say, is it worth the investment? That's a good question to ask, and we should
Or
would
can
check
we
on
help
that.
them?
Uh-huh,
Put us to the top of the list. Is there some encouragement we could kind of do?
That's interesting.
We might want to do that. And then finally, I think it's M. Chang Finance Consulting Service for $11,620. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. There's a lot around finance and software and training, and I'm having a hard time really being able to put those pieces together and get a sense of how that's moving forward, although I'm sure that it is. So perhaps in that concept review or something like that, you could come back and give us an update on how those pieces around financial services, consulting, software is coming to a better understanding for us and fruition for us would be great.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. I'm going to put 1 and 2 in one category since they're warrants just from different time periods. Any other questions about 1 and 2?
So I just see here that M.B. Chang and Associates was for 15,000 as well as the 11,620. So we're up to 26,620.
So
Yeah,
makes your
thank
report
you.
even more apt. So then, okay. So can I get a motion to approve 1 and 2?
I'll move.
Thank you. I'll second. Please.
Roll call, Mayor.
Thanks.
Mayor Gilman.
Yes.
Councilmember Mang.
Yes.
Councilmember Rule.
Abstaining?
Councilmember Whitman.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lang.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll move to number 6, ratify the appointment to fill midterm vacancy on the Planning Commission.
Because I pulled this one because I usually when we have a commissioner who we're appointing, there is a resume or there's some kind of information, and I was curious to know a little bit more about her, and so I wanted to hear about
That's why I pulled it,
Good.
because I'm not objecting at all to the
I hear that.
appointment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my only reason for pulling it was to say, number one,
Hmm.
that John Trent was a fantastic
I know. What
planning
a loss.
commissioner. We're going to miss him, and
Absolutely.
he really sacrificed a lot to our community.
He was fantastic.
Katrina Schmidt was our Mara
Hmm.
when I was on the planning commission 20 years ago.
That's it.
And she worked her entire career as a planner,
Hmm.
community planner. And she then, retired, and she told me she, just kind of missed.
Hmm.
I think she's going to be a fantastic asset
Hmm.
because she knows so much about planning. And she'll understand all of the planning concepts
Hmm.
that come through, and I think she's a fantastic person.
No, thank you.
Clarifying question: Who was the
I was
who
about
was
to
the
say,
committee?
it
on
was
this?
myself, Ms. Mang, and then John Trent. And
Okay.
so it was unanimous to come forward here, but I
Okay.
wanted to have
No, we
Ms.
felt with
Mang.
her that she was a
Yeah.
great fit and that the committee could just hit the ground running. They wouldn't have to take the time to educate to do because
Yep.
she does have so much knowledge and so tied to the community and all of that. So I think she's a great
That's-
fit. And then we just have now, I guess, I don't know when that comes into play for John's.
That will come forward again. So there'll be another person. It'll be a reappointment by Mr. Whitman because he appointed Mr. Trent.
And then when, my other question pertaining to Commissioner, when will, because the HPC, they've been without that man for several months. So when will we be?
Mr. Harvey, I know we put something in the paper, I believe, correct?
I'll let the
Oh, we-
Chief Deputy City
Thank
Clerk
you,
answer
yeah.
that.
Yes, I know Mayor, yourself, and the chair of the HPC have been in talks. And as soon as we are ready, we will issue the rotating council member and then do our normal outreach, public outreach, so the public has the opportunity to apply and see it and go through the process.
So can I just clarify, like a time to, what is when you're ready? Because this has been open for several months. And I'm just curious as to
Yeah,
when.
Is there something that you're waiting on from me?
It depends on the commission chair and the mayor, and what we're really waiting on is the rotating council member, because it's a rotation list set by municipal code
Mm-hmm.
in the clerk's office. So once we know that we can issue that rotating council member, then that would begin.
And why can't we do that?
We can do it
Let's do it.
as of now.
Let's
Yeah.
do it. Yeah, no, they're missing their person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're still, and I know that this would depend on your workload, of course, but whether or not we do things, one after the other, or whether or not two appointments can be happening simultaneously. And I know that it has to do with your workload.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we've gone back and forth over, it's got to be one after the other because that just keeps everything, all the ducks in a row. And we've also said, well, but if we get backlogged, we can do more. So a little clarity sort of on that would probably help at least the commission that's in the queue.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, well, just as a point of note.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that was just a comment because they don't really know.
No, but thanks for clarifying. So I
Yeah.
didn't realize that was the state of the process. but-
Yes.
Yeah,
And-
and yeah.
Staff can handle multiple nomination committees at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that there is discretion in your grassroots finding of these volunteers in the
Mhm.
community, so there is some wiggle room there to finding these
Yeah.
quality candidates.
But we also advertise in the paper.
Correct. Yes.
So my thought is that's actually the stage we should be in for the HPC now.
Mhm.
Okay.
Hearing that, I will, starting
Super.
tomorrow,
Okay.
we'll assign that council
And
member
then-
Thank
to
you.
start.
Yeah.
Have we done an announcement of the most recent opening on the,
That's correct.
Planning.
For the second planning
yeah.
commission vacancy. Yes,
So-
we have
So we
noticed that.
have done that.
That one did go.
Mhm.
And did we give them a deadline for applying?
I completed the first requirement to notice the unscheduled vacancy. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
unplanned vacancy.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll continue with more Friday postings in the Ojai Valley News. And it is up on the city's website right now.
But there's not a
vacancy.
deadline to apply, I think was the question.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Should we do that?
Well, we'll have assuming that Ms. Schmidt will go forward. We do have a quorum, so they can meet. They're not prohibited
Right.
from meeting. Great, but yeah, we should. I mean, it'd be nice to say, I don't know, a month from now, we get everybody and start the process.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Is put a 30-day window to
Super.
receive applications.
Okay.
And just finally, so I think, I think it'd be very nice if, as standard procedure, we did have a resume, an application, a CV, and as well, I would like to hear from the two members, sort of what struck them, as a really good choice. That would give us insight as well.
I totally agree about the resume, and I was going to do that, but it got pulled. So
Okay.
I figured we would talk about it. But
Yeah.
The resume is a good call.
Yeah, and I think just hearing from, the people who nominated why they thought that this candidate was a particularly good candidate
And
would be
if
very
I can,
helpful.
I would just mimic 100% what Ms. Banks said. I think it's going to be a great fit for the commission, somebody who's going to actually help them with a gap in knowledge, and that is the nuts and bolts, right? Especially of things like zoning. So
why not?
I think it'd be wonderful.
And another woman on the board.
And another woman.
Yes, so all of those reasons
Yep.
are really fabulous, and it's good to hear them. Thank you.
Great. Okay. I move that we nominate Katrina Schmidt to the Planning Commission.
I'll second.
Great. Mr. Montgomery, I guess since we're just calling,
Yeah, let's do a roll call.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call. Councilmember Whitman.
Yes?
Councilmember Mang.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lang.
Yes.
Councilmember Rule.
Abstain?
Mayor Gilman.
Yes.
Okay.
On to number 8. Approve the purchase of the new custom-built dais for the City Council chambers in Kent Hall.
And I am just waiting, Mayor, if you don't mind, for Mr. There he is.
Yay.
Mr. Hahn.
Thank you. Now, did we have some disconnect in the drawing from the description? That was some of the feedback I thought we had received.
Yeah, so the estimate was written and they gave me an A and B. The A was 4, B was 5. The reason I decided to go with the B is because it would put a leg right between Mayor Gilman's legs.
Uh-huh. You mean like how there is right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I thought that would be much better.
So I pulled it because I was looking at it and it seemed to be very closed. Seemed to be a very closed circle, and I was wondering. And I understand it's a constraint. It's a room constraint, most likely.
So it not only is it a room constraint, I had listened to the council when he said that you didn't want to crane your neck to look at people.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to make it more round table with the idea that the lectern would be extra seat. So when people come up to the lectern, they're actually at the table.
Okay.
Just a thought to follow on your point. If you look at there's the diagram. When I call the page numbers out, it'll be like the master page of the full. Yeah. But if I look at page 62, and you see that semicircle, that I guess if we have the opportunity, that's where I would favor going. So not the circle enclosed, if possible. So I don't know if that means then
I agree.
it's
I agree.
it's that drawing there.
So that would not fit.
Okay.
That's
My constraint was I was trying to get 11 seats
Okay.
at a dais. We could go back and talk to them about doing something more open.
because I was wondering, like with the circular one, the two end parts, could that be straight?
Like how
And
this
not-
is right now.
And not circular? Because this, to me, with the circular, it seems like how many chairs will you be losing from the front with those people's back to the audience?
So essentially, at this dais, it would be Taylor would be facing us where she is, and then I would be facing more right at you guys, presenting.
But where would your back? Would you be closing off like Dale and? That's what it looked. I don't.
ABN a little bit.
Well, if it's a perfect circle, like how it appears to be on the diagram, the person on the end does look like their back is to the audience.
That's what I. Yeah.
So I agree with the idea that if you know, if we took it from right where that line is,
Mm-hmm.
2 seats before the end,
Mhm.
and we just straightened
Straighten
it
it,
out
that's what I thought.
there, then
It's an
And if-
upside down U.
What if I could just
Yeah.
jump in, guys?
Please.
So the 2 people on the end are staff people,
Mhm.
and it's really not our role normally. We're responding to questions from you all. What you see in a lot of other cities, if you want to go to more of a horseshoe and less of a circle, is you have the staff in a different, you know, what we are usually in a different area, or we're off on the side. That's normally how council is addressed. So either you go for this kind of inclusionary model, or you cut this in half and you cut us loose and we're
Right.
in our own little area. You have a very small
Mhm.
room here, so that's kind of your constraint.
Mhm.
If
So we can come back with that type of model, but that's what you see elsewhere. That's how they get around this challenge that you're describing.
I personally would like to see another alternative, just
Okay.
to sort
That's
of
fine.
judge, because it does seem to me that the audience is going to be looking at the backs. You know, it just seems.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
we
thank
can
you.
certainly do that. So we'll again, the alternative will be more, but where you guys are more in kind of a horseshoe, and the staff is probably going to be separate but connected in a way.
Separate but connected. Yes. Yeah, I mean, it would be good to see, I think. I don't know how the rest of my council.
Yeah, I think so, because then it's also communicating that
Right.
that we want participation, and we don't want to close visibility off for the public to be able to see us.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
So,
you.
And then also one last thing, it's 3-1, top of the 6.
Oh, thank you.
So, just Mr. Hahn, so just, excuse me. One idea with that upside down U shape, if I look at the diagram, if you did have 2 that were just straight,
Mm-hmm.
that seems like you could fit that as an option, but just throwing it out there. It's kind of what we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can go back to the manufacturer and talk to them about that, see what we can do.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, appreciate it.
Or
Okay.
we could put Ben in the corner.
Nah.
You can put me in a different room. I'd be, yeah,
I'd be
I'm
happy.
just, you know, think
Can
that everybody
we
would be
get
happy.
a vote and a consensus for staff direction on that, please?
So, a motion to direct staff to come back with alternative designs based on direction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. I know. Yep.
Roll call. Councilmember Meng.
Yes.
Councilmember Rule.
Abstaining.
Right. Mayor Gilman.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lang.
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman.
yes.
Okay.
I want to ask Ms. Belknap, did you want to talk about 9, 11, or 12? Oh. And yes.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I just very quickly, while we're talking about the dais, I wanted to, I don't know if this is actually a better space for council meetings than our other space, which already has a really beautiful dais, and perhaps there is data about the capacity of this room or whatever that you all have considered, but I don't know because I've never seen it, and I'm personally not convinced that this is a better space enough to justify a whole other dais. That's all.
Thank you. No, that's good.
So I can respond to that if
Yes,
you want,
please.
Mayor. Yes, we decided over a year ago that this was going to be our council chambers for several reasons. One, it does accommodate far more people. 2, this is ADA compliant for all areas, including areas of ingress, egress, but also access to the meeting and technology so you can hear and understand. We had a lot of issues in the old space with people not being able to hear the meeting or being in the little lobby way or and also people going into the innards of City Hall during the meeting because it's not truly a facility we're able to really lock off once we have meetings in there. So there were a number of challenges that we had, but primarily it's also just a very limited capacity. There's 35 people that are able to sit in that room, according to the fire marshal, and I think we have twice that.
For sure. No, thank you.
I think one other issue that was brought up at the time was that the space configuration is easier for the police chief to manage a
Yes.
crowd, and we did have a few crowds in the old space that
I remember.
got a little bit
Yes.
unruly.
We were there. Thank you. That's a good description. Okay, so we'll move on to number 9, award of the contract business license and cannabis software application and administration.
This is for me and Ms. Mara to address. I'm just going to jump in and Ms. Mara can add anything
Thank
that
you.
I leave off. So we conduct currently a wholly manual process for the license processing. And it's been our observation that we could do that processing in a much more efficient manner that doesn't require people to be coming in or mailing things, one that allows people to do things online. We will still offer the ability for those that want to come in, that want to drop off a check, that want to have that physical contact. But we know from dealing with a lot of our customers that they would prefer the option to be able to do this without having to come see our smiling faces or to put something in an envelope with a stamp on it. HDL is the leader in this service statewide. They are, somebody that I've used in a number of different municipalities where I've worked. We also are availing ourselves of their assistance in cannabis applications. Now that's much lower. There's 3 or 4, thank you, that we have currently, but they have expertise in that area too. So it's just having somebody additional that has this expertise, that can automate it, that can provide options to our public. And did I leave anything out, Ms. Mara?
No, but the manual part is the biggest part for me, because it does take a lot of time. Every aspect of business license and cannabis is done manually.
Okay.
Every aspect. But also, a lot of people want to be able to just pay online or reprint their business license certificate, or do all that stuff and update their information. It's a simple process. It's user friendly for any business out there, or even the cannabis companies. The other company that we had is more of a IT solution, and they would be building the program.
Okay.
We are getting ready for renewals. Right now, I would be starting renewals, and it will take me from now until March, and that's all I'm doing.
Okay.
So this is why I want to get it going, because it's HDL can get it done within 9 weeks here.
And we could use Ms. Mara for other purposes besides having her being
Correct.
sucked into this for the next several months.
Correct.
That's worth a lot.
With my new title, I should be doing more bigger things than
Yeah.
Yeah.
data processing.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, HDL is the company that's working for our transient occupancy tax, correct?
They provide a number of services.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Please.
And I'm just curious. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Go.
Oh,
Yeah.
In the fiscal impact where it says lodging for out-of-scope meetings, including implementation, training, and support will be billed at cost. There's no dollar amount what that could be.
I would imagine that would be less than $5,000 probably. It's just going to take a few trips for them to come out and make sure that we're up and running. I don't have a number yet, but it'll be a de minimis amount.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. And they'll be able to take the information from our Springbrook Enterprise now, where we keep all that information, and they're going to pull it out and put it into theirs. So it's pretty much over the internet that they're going to be able to do all that.
Okay. Ms. Rule, please.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it's also, obviously it frees you up and is very efficient, but also for, the residents to be able to do everything online. It'd be like having to go to the bank to deposit a check.
Yeah, it is 2025. So.
Yeah, it's just, it's such a, so I appreciate that as well, the convenience for the business owners and the cannabis folks.
Thank you.
So
Anything
I
else? Yeah.
do have a couple of questions. So are we, by implementing this software, I was kind of struck by the fact that we're spending $48,000 to collect $48,000. And so I was wondering are we saving substantially on the manual cost of collecting these fees?
So again, I think the big headline is twofold. One, you're providing a better service to your customers who are your businesses, right? You're giving them this option where they don't have to do this manual process, but also we're going to get Bridget back from, basically October through March, because we don't get her during that period. If you come into City Hall in that time period, you're probably aware there's 5 people waiting in the lobby. Bridget's on the phone. And that's all she is doing.
Mhm.
So you're getting that opportunity cost of having her back available, which we don't have.
We also mail out every renewal. So here, a lot of things will be going through the email system. I mean, unless they want it through the mail, but we're gonna cut down on postage. We're gonna cut down on paper use. I mean, the amount of renewals I send out and the amount we get back is just,
Yeah.
I've been cleaning it up since I started, so it's gotten less and less, but and plus, HDL will go out and find businesses who are not complying with our code and make sure that they are. So, and that's something I don't have time to do.
Bridget, can you clarify? You're talking about the revenue collection part of it.
Correct. Yeah.
So presuming this goes forward, I would love to get a report out in a few months where you could tell us how it's going and what kind of time it freed up.
100%.
That would be great.
I think that probably would best be in the spring.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one other
Yeah.
thought occurred to me is, should we be increasing the cost of a license if we're
So that's
so
coming.
marginal on the cost?
That's coming. You're going to be embarking upon a fee study.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's all going to be,
Good.
your fees are low for everything.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're gonna compare to other jurisdictions, what they're charging, and seeing where we fit in and what we can.
The way these work also, they look at the time and effort involved in a fee, because the attorney's going to jump in here. You are limited in what you can charge, and I don't remember what the legal definition. You go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for most of the fees, if not all of the fees, you're limited to the actual cost recovery of whatever the services that we're providing. So I believe the proposal coming forward is to do a study to accurately capture how much everything is costing us and how much we're charging for those services
Okay.
to ensure that you're at least getting cost recovery, or you're making a conscious choice to subsidize if you choose to do that.
I'm glad we're doing that.
Yeah.
Me too. Anything else? I move to approve consent item 9.
I'll second.
Thank you. Mr. Montgomery, please.
Roll call.
Thanks.
Councilmember Whitman.
Yes.
Councilmember Rule.
Abstain?
Mayor Gilman.
Yes.
Councilmember Mang.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lang.
Yes.
So moving on to number 11, the general plan update, the final survey questions.
Mr. Seibert just joined us. Thank
Yay.
you, Mr. Seibert.
Yeah. So I'm the one who pulled this one, and I know that I brought the proposal to have a separate element of the plan forward, and that was in response to a statement that's in our land use element of our general plan, which says balancing small town life with a vibrant tourist economy. I read the survey to address the vibrant tourist economy, but not to really ask any questions about balancing life of our residents with the economy we're promoted. So I don't object at all to the economic diversification component that's been added in, but I really do want us to address how we make sure that we are taking into consideration the impacts upon our residents. So my question is, how do I influence potentially what's in the survey?
I have a thought on the subject because what I was thinking, there was some public comment and also an email from the chamber considering how could they also be involved in this potentially. And I thought instead of us, nobody would probably want to do that in real time here, but there could be a subset that actually works on questions that then brings it back. That's a suggestion. So it would be some team that works. But Mr. Seibert, I want to ask you, were the questions drafted? Who drafted the questions first off? Let's ask that.
Well, it's the consultant that drafted them.
Yep.
So we went back and forth a couple of different times. So to Councilmember Whitman's point, but the balancing piece is really, I think, it doesn't have like a specific question. What it is if you look at the way in which these questions are framed, they're not framed in a only qualitative standpoint. It has a quantitative standpoint. It has a qualitative standpoint to it as well, which is open-ended on a number of these, which provides that opportunity for those individuals that are out there, community members, business owners, to really kind of thread the needle in terms of what their concerns are. So it's not just stating, hey, we're looking for an A, B, or C answer here. Here's your A, B, and C. Why is it A, B, and C? Or is it why are you putting this in a rank order system? And why is that system in place? And on top of that, at the end, so it was kind of a tug and pull that went along when we were working through these questions, because as you remember, we started with a focus group with those 3 groups, but then realized that the focus group was really too focused and needed something kind of in a broader perspective, rather than having 13 or 12 individuals kind of threading the needle in terms of what's best for the community. Let the community speak for what's best for the community. Let those individuals come to the table, fill out the form, not necessarily be pigeonholed into only those questions, but also have the opportunity within those questions to then provide their own opinion, thoughts in terms of what's been going on. And on top of that, as you know, with the general plan, we're looking into the future.
Right. So I understand it's important to have our consultants have the ultimate control over what's in the survey. So I'm going to suggest maybe, well, nobody's doing public comments, so we're both at discussion and questions. So with the mayor's suggestion about having a subcommittee that I think maybe that what could potentially happen is a Zoom meeting between a subcommittee and the consultants, and then see what the consultants think about ideas that the Chamber of Commerce may want to introduce, and what we may want to introduce in terms of a better understanding of community impacts, if that makes sense.
It does.
I was just going to say, our goal, I support having the Chamber's involvement. And also, I believe, is it this one that I read that we were going to try to do this on Ojai Day? That there's a time consideration for this.
The hope was
yeah.
that we could really kind of hit the ground running. And so we did that a couple of years ago with one of our surveys where we had it running, extended it through Ojai Day, and then saw a boost in the number of participants.
There was a computer at the table, you mean, and people were taking it? Or
No,
paper?
more like I had a QR code.
Okay.
And people were hitting that QR code and filling it out on their phone as they're walking around.
Yeah.
That was your hope for next Saturday.
That was the wish list.
Okay, so maybe we go ahead and do that, but we have kind of a supplemental mailer that addresses some of these issues, if that's possible.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about, so we're either going to use SurveyMonkey or we're going to use Qualtrics. So either one of those, SurveyMonkey seems to be kind of a pay-to-play. The more we get in, the more we're actually going to end up having to pay. Qualtrics is kind of a across-the-board payment, which is probably going to save us a little bit of money. You can add questions to that, and you can always extend it out. So there's always opportunities. The only thing that I would caution if we were to add questions is the individuals that didn't get a chance to respond to those questions are missing out on that opportunity.
Right, and it would distort our data. So I would rather have a survey that is a complete survey.
Agree.
Or have 2 surveys. At Ojai Day we might have more tourists or more visitors, or I wouldn't want to distort our any feedback that would be coming in.
What's the number of surveys that you would typically get, like when you did this before?
So we did a survey in 2022 when we did the
Mhm.
land use and safety element. We had 500 to 600 that
Okay.
came in. It started out at about 150 and then ramped up after we did the workshop and then extended it out a couple more weeks.
Mhm.
And in doing that, it allowed those individuals that were interested in it to reach out to their interested parties. And then suddenly we saw that number jump.
I see. So if you had a revised timeline and we couldn't make Ojai Day, what would the game plan be, do you think?
So there's a couple of things that I'm thinking about.
Okay.
Getting the chamber involved in this, I think, is an important piece. Making sure that they're understanding from their standpoint, their expertise standpoint, the questions and the thought process we're going through this, because I'm sure they're going to get questions once this goes live as well. I think it's helpful to have, especially those individuals from Ojai Day, to kind of springboard it. Is it critical? Nowhere in our timeline does it say, oh, we've got to get this done by Ojai Day. That was kind of a wish list for me.
I see.
Because I could see a huge boost in the beginning, and then that helps to kind of snowball. And I'm looking for a number of individuals. I'm looking for a high number here because it'll help influence this element as we move forward. It's not the only piece, obviously, but it's a helpful piece.
Did it get advertised in the paper and things like that?
It absolutely will.
Okay,
yes.
good. Right.
Yes. There's a lot of different pieces that we'll be using with a flyer.
Well, to mimic what you just said, I do think the chamber involvement and what you said is good, and having one is better than one that's modified and then then later modified. So I would suggest that.
And we have a joint meeting we're scheduling a 2-on-2 committee with the chamber. So if we could postpone the timeline on this just a week or two, or
And then perhaps sending this to the chamber. I mean, they could get it right now, but say, oh, start thinking about this, so they come to the meeting with some data already or some feedback.
Absolutely.
That would be great. Thanks for being flexible.
As always.
Hey, but we could do a save the date at Ojai Day. Save the date. There's a survey coming.
Well, yeah, there's already going to be an opportunity for individuals to get into constant contact and get informed about the General Fund update. We'll have that already. So.
And it can go in the Outlook too.
Oh,
absolutely.
Good question. So I guess if it's okay, I would make a motion then that we are directing staff to work with the chamber and also to incorporate some of the feedback received from the council to come back with a further a promulgation plan for the survey. That sound okay? Yep.
Yep.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Roll call, Mayor.
Instead of promulgation, say promotion. Just why be so fussy about words? Thanks.
Roll call. Mayor Pro Tem Ling.
Yes.
Councilmember Mang.
Yes.
Councilmember Rule.
Abstain.
Mayor Gilman.
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much. And it is very exciting to see it go this far, I have to say. It is really, really exciting. I know, look at this. And then our last item on consent, number 12, the driver labor contractor agreement.
Yeah, and I'm just going to start off real
Please.
quick, and Ms. Holman can jump in. So this is a follow-up to other updates you've received from staff on the trolley service. And as council and the public is aware, one of our challenges previously was restoring Sunday service and making sure we had backup drivers. And so we've talked in public about using this contract service, and in order to use a contract service, you need a contract. And so this contract allows for us to have that backup and that continuity that we just have been struggling to achieve, despite the fact that we've been doing nonstop recruitment efforts and outreach for the trolley drivers. This does not derail or stop the current effort, which we'll be coming back to, I believe, at the next meeting, or yes, so at the very next meeting, we're bringing back, pursuant to council's direction, the concept of benefiting the trolley drivers, and so that this is working in parallel with that. But in the meantime, we need to have this in place so that we can make sure that we're able to continue the service as we have it, and so that we have that business continuity when someone calls in sick or we have a need. That is why we have looked all over the place for contract drivers. This particular vendor seems to match our needs because they are local. They have approximately 60 drivers who work in the region who have other full-time jobs, and that's why they're attractive. There is no other major competitor that we are aware of. So an RFP, I mean, there might be somebody in Santa Barbara County that might, but again, these guys are located in Ventura County. So did I leave anything out, Ms. Holman? Okay. Oh, and their pay is commensurate with our drivers' pay. That is one of the things we talked to them about, because we actually took the other approach. We actually just wanted to know, hey, is our problem that we're not paying our drivers enough? They took a look at our rate. They said, no, that's roughly what we pay our drivers too. And once they knew that we were also going to add a benefit, they said, you're actually going to probably be superior to what we offer. Now, whether or not that actually draws more, that remains to be seen. But you also have an item on your next agenda, so we'll park that until there. Thank you.
So on the next agenda, when we come up with basically a response to how we build this robust program, my understanding is there are people that we are still trying to get on board. That is
Yes.
continuing effort.
Ongoing.
So just
Ongoing.
I'm saying that for the public.
Including our transit supervisor who's
Mhm.
going through the training.
Right.
And you know, so we do have folks that are interested, but it is a process. You have to go through the training. There's a physical component of it. There's a DMV test. I mean, it takes a while.
I get it.
And I had an understanding that our deficit is really for the weekend shifts as opposed to during the week.
That's right. And with this contract service, we know, we're able to provide 7 days a week. And what we would like to ultimately do, and this is an idea that's come from council members, is maybe rather than have two distinct routes that really aren't that materially different, they're a little different, but not very materially, maybe we just have one route with more frequent buses coming through. So you're not waiting an hour, you're waiting a half an hour. So it's something we'd like to pilot once we have some more staff under our belt.
And tell me if I'm wrong, the issue we were having with so few drivers that were employed with us is that somebody calls in sick and there's no bench strength here, and this fills that primary piece, especially for Sundays.
That's right.
Okay.
And this also allows for on-call. We have an on-call driver with this. So if somebody calls in sick on the weekend, we're paying for somebody to be on call, so there's no hiccup.
Any other questions on this?
I do want to
Yeah,
bring
please.
up one more thing,
No, go ahead.
and this is also alluded to during public comment. This is illustrating on many levels why many little small cities don't run their own transit operation, because it's very challenging. There's a lot of requirements for getting people certified in the manner that they need to be. If the council did direct us in the future, we'd be happy to bring back a proposal for somebody to run the service as we run it, using our drivers, using our vehicles, but administering it. Like, the logical entity would be Gold Coast, and they have told us multiple times that they would be happy to make a proposal if the city wanted to do that. There are benefits to doing that. You could have your cake and eat it too. You could keep your drivers, you could keep your buses, and then you'd be drawing from their bench. So just a thought to think about, but that's, it's not common for a little small city like this to take this all on.
Understood.
I just have to say, correct me, because for months we've heard from transportation that you wanted to remove the trolley system and all that stuff. And this is giving me that kind of a feel like this is going to be the first blanket here. We agree to this and then it's going to continue. I don't know.
That's the opposite of what I just said.
The opposite.
That's the opposite of what I just said. What I just said was we're using this so that we can keep our existing system in place. The problem is if I don't use this contract service, you will not have trolley service on Sundays. And when someone calls in sick, you very well might have a huge gap in the day because we don't have somebody. And this is despite all the recruitment efforts. Now, maybe once we get the council, if council gives us direction to benefit the positions and all of a sudden the ranks swell and we have some huge number of trolley drivers, maybe that'll change. But that just has not been our experience so far.
And has there been any talk or thought of maybe if we partnered with OUSD with something, could that be helpful? Because I think they only have one bus driver where you could we could work something out. You could work this for the OUSD, and then it's just a thought to see if that.
They actually have they're looking for drivers as well.
They're actually worse off than we are in a number of ways.
Well, that's what I didn't know, if we could partner together, if that could be something. It's just a thought.
They also have a program where they are using the trolley for some of their differently abled students.
Okay.
So they're taking advantage of the services that we're providing in addition to whatever they're offering.
Okay. And then it just comes back, you know, we, with employees that are not, that have been on leave, like what's happening with that? Does that come into play in a part? I know there's been,
Does not come into this whatsoever.
okay, so that, okay, we can't talk about that.
Well,
what's gonna happen.
it's not a factor in this whatsoever.
And for a driver, okay, and then what about drivers, that hours have been cut?
So we have, that's also just a rumor out there. We've not been cutting drivers' hours. We offer
rumor.
drivers when they come on board. You know, I'm aware that some might tell you something different that's different from reality, but when they come on board, we have an offer letter that gives a range of hours. And so we offer within that range that we have committed to. And sometimes it's on the lower end, sometimes it's on the higher end.
Okay, so you're saying then the hours haven't been cut, even though
No.
if it's in the thing, hours haven't been taken away?
We have not been taking away hours, no.
Okay.
No, and so for example, like we offer you an offer letter, you know, we're gonna commit to having you drive 20 to 30 hours a week. Some weeks it might be 20, some weeks it might be 30. It just depends on, you know, what the need is that week.
Okay. And then another thing, with the scope of services, the daily duties, is that going to coincide with what our current drivers do? So it's not their duties if we're hiring out whatever the $59 a day hour, whatever it is, it would be the same duties as our employees here?
The
So
expectation is it's seamless for the customer and it's seamless on the system. So when we bring in a contract driver, one of the first requirements they have to do is they do a ride along with one of our current drivers, and they have to understand exactly how we do things and what the expectations are, and the process at the start of the shift and the post process and all those steps. And our transit supervisor oversees that. And so we
If
do
I
it.
might paraphrase something that I'm hearing you say, tell me if I'm getting it right. The interest, at least so far, is that we maintain a program that we run with our employees as much as possible. And that kind of reflects what we're going to talk about next week, right? This new package. And that we have contractors to fill in gaps, is what I'm hearing from you. If we were to go down a road where you would need direction from us to move to the contractor road.
Absolutely.
And
we would never even pursue that.
Understood.
Without even doing like a concept review, if you even want to do the concept. But I'm not bringing that before you because I'm not getting that direction.
Understood.
But what I do want you to know, and this is illustrative of it, is it's challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And it consumes a lot of our time.
I believe that.
Yeah, so I just wanted, the optics of it are when you put out the potential of giving it to Gold Coast, it optically, because we have for months told people that there is nothing in the works, that we plan, that we love our trolley. We're not going to outsource the trolley. We will outsource temporarily for drivers so that we can accommodate a Sunday. But just to know that when that comes into the conversation, that we should consider this, it is like a red flag. I guarantee you, to the community who have been saying all along that seems to be an underlying intent. Now, I'm just talking about what the
Sure.
optics are and what council member Mang was pointing out. And she is absolutely right about that, putting out that little nugget that we may consider going to Gold Coast.
And we're not. And I get what you're
if I
saying,
could
but
encourage
let me
everybody.
just jump in. Please.
Yeah, I'm just saying
I just
that
need to say something.
that's
I have been very, very transparent about this for the last. We've given council and the community every update along the way. We've told you everything just because we're trying to provide for you the whole picture. But you have to think about the whole picture. Grabbing one thing out of context and running with it is not helpful, right? We're trying to tell you every single thing that we can do to keep the trolley service running, and that's what we're doing and why we're doing it.
yes, I understand that. You know, what the optics of something is the optics of something. And so we need to address that. And
so
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I'll finish with this statement. We have direction to continue the trolley service in-house, and we're working our hardest to do this. And this reflects that commitment to make sure that we're able to do that.
That's how I'm taking it. Did you have something you wanted to add?
I just would like to encourage you, the council, Mayor, to get the discussion back on track to this contract at hand.
Thank you.
And if we'd like to return with an item to discuss this further, we can absolutely
Appreciate
do
that.
that.
Well, I just have one more thought. So should we wait, because we haven't decided on, you know, the benefits and all that stuff for the current drivers? Would it make a difference if we held on to this till the next meeting when we saw, because what if we don't agree with what the packet is and then we're not in the same ballpark?
My understanding is the consequence would be you won't have Sunday service if we wait.
Well, you're operating without a contract as well.
Mhm.
So you have contract drivers that, you know, we have a verbal agreement, which is a contract,
Mm-hmm.
but I would prefer to have a written agreement. That's the professional way to do it. So the more you wait on this, the longer you don't have an actual covenant between the city and that company.
Is it locking us into a time frame? I'm looking right now.
Yeah.
Up to 1 year,
Okay.
but it's as needed. We direct.
Okay.
It's not like they have an expectation.
Understood. That's useful.
So I'll just make a really quick comment that we're often in a situation where we have information and understanding that the community doesn't have. And when they have perceptions that don't match the reality of what we're trying to do, it still concerns all of us that perception is there. And so I appreciate everybody's comments. I also give, due credit to you attempting, to solve a difficult position.
And I want to thank you. We've had council members that joined us for ride-alongs where we specifically spent a good chunk of the ride trying to tell people what we were doing with the trolley.
Yeah.
And, maybe that worked, maybe that didn't.
And handing out T-shirts.
I guess just hopefully we can now go to a vote, but my main interest is that we have a trolley service that's running. That's my first primary interest.
Right.
And so it's something that people actively use. And when people say, what's your big traffic plan? I always throw the trolley in as the traffic plan besides all the other parts of the plan. So I've been entertaining the motion.
I'll make a motion
please.
to approve it.
Second.
Roll call, Mayor.
Yes.
Councilmember Rule.
Abstain.
Mayor Pro Tem Lang.
Yes.
Mayor Gilman.
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman.
Yes.
Councilmember Mang.
No.
Okay.
Motion passes.
Thank you. It's 7:22. It could be a logical quick break time before we do discussion items, shall we? But normally we'd go till 8. I'm asking. Quickie. A quickie. Quick break. check 1, 2. We're going to come back. All right. We're doing good, guys. Welcome back. We are on item 13, code compliance proactive approach. Please.
Sorry, Mayor, we're going to kick this to Ms. Macalusa. Who's
Yes.
up here.
Absolutely, great.
Thank you. My name is Maura Macaluso, and I'm your
Uso.
principal planner. Thank you, Mayor and council members. So the city's code compliance efforts have traditionally been reactive versus proactive, and staff mainly reacts to complaints generated through the My Ojai app, except for some proactive enforcement of short-term rentals, which started in 2016, and also gas-powered lawn equipment, which started around 2020 or in 2020. These proactive efforts have reduced violations and improved compliance through consistent monitoring by our code compliance officer. So at this time, staff from the Community Development Department is requesting that the council consider directing staff to implement proactive rather than reactive approaches to code compliance on a broader spectrum that includes 3 different items. One is inoperable vehicles, another is unpermitted construction activity, and the last one is the Ojai Arcade and Arcade Plaza signage, outdoor displays, and outdoor dining.
Mm-hmm.
Regarding the arcade and the Arcade Plaza, the community development staff is suggesting that you allow us to host a public forum where we can educate the business owners and property owners and also the public on the design guidelines and the municipal code regarding the arcade and the Arcade Plaza.
Mm-hmm.
And after the public forum and the educational forum, we would establish a 90-day grace period before beginning actual enforcement. And, during that 90-day time, we would hope that people would come into compliance on their own.
Mm-hmm.
We're also asking if there are any additional desired proactive enforcement efforts that you'd like us to consider, and if there are, we would go back and research them and come back and tell you what the cost estimate may be.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So just a couple questions before we go to public comments and from my colleagues. Let's just use the vehicles as an example. Somebody would drive around basically looking. Is that the activity that's being proposed? For you're saying you gave us 3 items. One was vehicles that are not operable, something like that.
Right.
Okay, so the other, would somebody be driving around looking for vehicle?
So somebody would be driving around,
Uh-huh.
and they would be looking at everything,
Okay.
and in that search
Yes.
or look,
Right.
it's not like I'm looking for trouble. They would see a vehicle that's been sitting there obviously for over 72 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's got cobwebs on it, the windshield is covered in dirt,
Right.
that kind of thing.
Yep. Okay.
As opposed to only going out when we get a phone call.
Because right now, nobody's, unless they report it,
Correct.
we're not going out. Okay.
Correct. We are we are reactive.
Understood. The analogy, I guess, would be something like, we used to have we still have 2-hour parking, but we're not enforcing the parking. So there used to be a meter person that would mark your cars and you'd get a ticket. Well, like in the 90s, that's the way it was here. So that's proactive. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Please.
So, gas-powered lawn equipment is one of those things that we proactively enforce. Does that include leaf blower,
Yes.
gas-powered leaf blowers?
Absolutely.
Because I don't think we're enforcing that.
Well,
I mean,
Well,
maybe it's just my neighborhood, but it's
So-
out of control.
so the city is still complaint driven. However, when it comes to gas powered lawn equipment, we have become proactive and there's been some results from that. Now, is the code enforcer driving down your street on Saturday? Possibly not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what his route is or if he goes up and down every street.
Right.
And so I also want to say though, if there are gas powered leaf blowers, please call my Ojai.
Mm-hmm.
Or submit through the app, rather.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the fact that we're not complaint driven. I mean, we're moving away from being solely complaint driven because
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a horrible thing for neighbors to be, you know, reporting each
Yeah,
other
you
for
feel like a cop.
violations.
Yeah.
I mean, or it's just not a great situation.
An
Oh, yes, they are
unqualified cop.
anonymous. And just, they are anonymous. Just, I mean, not that it's comfortable to call on your neighbor. However, they don't have to be giving. They don't have to give their name.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do, and there's a PRA request or public records request related to the complaint, we redact that information as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, do we have any program at all for regulating the actual contractors? Because in my case, it's, you know, it's not the neighbor. In fact, I don't think the neighbors spend more than 60 days a year there.
Mm.
So,
So the violators are the people that are using the gas powered motors or engines are they're the goal is to cite them,
right.
and if they can't be cited because they drive off, then it is the property owner's responsibility. And I see the director is
Please come up.
is sneaking up.
Mara is correct.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, council a couple years ago gave authorization to go after the property owners as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we have authorization to issue citations for property owners. Have we done that on a limited basis? I want to say less than a handful at this point. Typically, 99% of the time, we're going after those violators. And typically,
Mm-hmm.
their first time being in Ojai. That's what we keep finding. We're educating them. We've already gone through the educational piece on that run.
Mm-hmm.
We did that for more than a year.
I remember.
Right.
So
Thank you.
I know we talked about in the context of the tree ordinances that we would look at the idea of kind of, you know, educating or pre-certifying the tree service people, because a lot of them don't seem to know what our oak tree ordinances are.
Right. They're just hacking and slashing versus.
Right.
Right.
So do we, you know, would it be feasible to do any kind of similar thing where a landscape contractor needs to be?
So there is an ordinance that this council had directed come back and hit some of that low hanging fruit. That's one of those pieces.
Okay.
But I'm hearing you say that you've offered 3. If we have more ideas, we can come to you and you would come back and tell us, here's what we could do. Here's what it would cost.
that's right.
This could be one of those. Okay.
We just didn't want to show up and give you nothing. We know that we
That's
can
great.
deliver on these 3, but we know, of course, that there may be many other items
Okay.
that you want us to address.
No, that's great.
So how does it work with the inoperable vehicles? So do you step up to the plate, or do you guys work together? How does that work?
Code compliance officer works with the police department.
Mm-hmm.
So the code compliance officer notifies the police department when there's an inoperable vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yeah, and remember, we're more if it's parked on a public street,
Right.
where they have a little more,
Mm-hmm.
teeth if it's parked in a driveway or on private property.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's not going to be our.
Right. We're only
so-
notifying if it's on
Mhm.
the public right of way.
And if it's not moving, is it determined to be inoperable because it's been there for multiple patrols?
Yes.
Okay.
At least on the reactive side, that's the anecdotes that I've heard from neighbors is there's a car that has not moved. It hasn't moved for 2 weeks or something like that. They're giving that feedback. So if it's operable, that's possible, but it hasn't been operated. Okay. Any other questions before I go to public comment?
Yes, so
Please.
as I understand it, we will have a code compliance officer basically driving around with an eye open to these 3 particular violations. Is that correct? And is that 7 days a week? Is it 2 days on the weekend, or is that TBD?
So right now we have an employee that is not here 5 days a week, but we're going to be hiring somebody, and that's in the report that that you have, that money's been allocated for. So we will have somebody
Mhm.
that is full time.
That is full-time, so 5 days, 40 hours a week.
Yes.
Okay, and it will be determined how those 40 hours will be allocated, whether it's on the weekends or however it happens to be. That's to be decided.
Between the two employees, the one
So
full
you would keep. So you
we would keep the existing
okay.
one and have the second one.
Okay.
And so we would have 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yes, they're driving around, and there's not just these three. They would continue to be looking for the two that they're already doing, which is the what were
The gas
two?
blowers and the
Sorry.
STRs.
Thank you.
However, we
Yeah.
could, and the director might add this too, we would also not want to stop them from observing other egregious, we don't want them to drive up to some place and, come up with 50 things that need to be.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's something really egregious that is clearly needing to be addressed, and maybe it's not in this category, that would be something we would want them to notice.
If something just pops out that's just
Right,
needs to be.
Yeah, I'm at this
noticed,
residence
yeah.
and all the windows are broken out, and there's a hole in the roof, and the weeds are 12 feet tall.
Mhm.
Right.
But that would probably already be on our list of something that we're working with the owner on, but just in case.
Do we
Right,
have a
and the-
blight ordinance?
A what ordinance? Sorry.
Blight?
Oh, blight. We don't have a blight ordinance per se, but we have.
No,
a
I think
blight
there's a
program.
couple of different provisions that lead you down the road of being blight, which
Mhm.
then requires co-compliance to go out and
Mm-hmm.
cite 3 or 4 different violations, and then by addressing those, then you come in compliance and get rid of that blight.
Okay.
Can I just speak to one
Yeah.
thing from a history standpoint?
Sure.
Prior to 2019, there weren't any co-compliance officers here on the weekend. That changed in 2020, and ever since then, we've seen there were a lot of violations that were happening on the weekends. And what we learned during that time is that there is a limitation by which you issue citations for. In this case, we're going to be monitoring that as well. I mean, we're not going to go out in the entire city and issue citations for 25, 30 different in-op vehicles, right? Just right away, or have them tow them within the 72-hour period. We're not looking for that. We're looking for compliance, right? So it's a slow roll here. We want to make sure that this proactive approach, because we've heard rumors that this has been tried before and failed. And we feel like that failure was because of the rolling out in a much aggressive manner. So that's kind of why the strategy is to, like, especially with the downtown area.
Yeah, and let me just piggyback on that. And if you haven't yet interacted with Max, who is our current code compliance officer, that is exactly his philosophy. He's a former law enforcement officer, but he understands that the way to compliance is convincing somebody or educating them and explaining to them why they should. So he might not resolve every single issue immediately and expediently, but he eventually will get it done. And the thing is, he gets the respect often of the property owner or the business owner because he's fair and he tries to work with them. And so anyway, I would encourage you to talk to Max if you ever get a chance.
No, that's great.
Well, I just had a thought. In addition to this educational forum, is there like a one sheet that we could give the chamber to distribute, so that way, like a one sheet saying, hey, you might not know of these codes, something that would really simplify it, especially for new business owners?
Oh,
That's
sorry, I thought you
interesting.
were sitting up. So, so something that we've discussed is when somebody comes in for a business license for a new business, and they're going to be, for instance, in the arcade, we can give them the arcade design guidelines. It's not one sheet, but I think it's just 2 or 3, and highlight, for instance, what the sign guidelines are. And certainly we can give them out to other people. A lot of businesses come and go, and we don't see them. So there's not an opportunity. There's not always an opportunity, but I think that's one way, is to give it to them when they're getting a business license.
That's a great idea.
Are you talking about, Mayor Pro Tem, like this is why Ojai is special kind of laws list?
Yeah.
Like above
yeah.
and beyond the design
Yes,
standards? So
yes.
like for example, the gas-powered lawn equipment, not every city has that kind of ordinance, right?
Right.
Or short-term rentals are illegal.
Right.
Right, in this town, where I think a lot of people would think the opposite.
Yes, so that's I like that idea. I'm thinking more for the businesses that wouldn't know they are violating codes. For example, those board, sandwich boards.
The sandwich boards, yeah.
Yeah, if a business owner had from the chamber or from your office a list of here are the do's and don'ts, real simple, then they wouldn't be surprised if they're violating codes and they get a notice. Yeah, just thinking that perhaps that could be something that we work with the chamber to distribute. In addition to the as a part of the educational piece of this, that it's like we have the educational forum, but for anyone who's somehow not getting the word that they need to come to that, like having another form of distribution.
Yes.
And also I'm thinking if we're putting the business license online, something online, because when you said, when they come into the office, with the new thing, they may not be coming into the office, so they to get the information.
To the effect, yeah.
Well, I like that idea if we could figure out how to do that for new residents.
I agree with
like,
that.
You know, that a lot of people don't know, one, about the gas-powered equipment, and number two, the construction time, where you can't have loud construction early in the morning.
And the chamber's already putting together welcome baskets, welcome to Ojai baskets for new residents. So this would be a natural part. I think this could be part of the partnership that we have with them, is, to Taylor's point, having this is why Ojai is so special, and here are the things that you need to do to comply with our codes.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, and I think Councilmember Mang and I were speaking today with Gina McHadden from HPC, and they could also be part of this educational outreach to explain, the historical importance and significance of the arcade. Very briefly from a historical point of view, which would give people further understanding of why these laws might be. And Gina also mentioned, which I thought was an interesting suggestion, is to potentially go back over the rules and regulations around the arcade and make sure that they're all still relevant, and get a sense of who's there now, what's actually going on there now, and are the existing rules and regulations appropriate and correct, or do they need some updating? Do we need new one? I don't want to make it a huge deal, but just to reassess, the rules and regulations now and see if they are as appropriate as when they were first developed.
That's definitely direction that council could give the commission in a separate item.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So if it's okay, I have two public comments here. Brian Akins, please, and then Larry Steingold.
Hello, Council. Excuse me. Brian Akins, member of the Historic Preservation Commission. I apologize for being late, but we were doing an oral history interview with Ernie and Carly Ford at the ranch. It was excellent. Item number 13.1, actually our church was involved in cleaning out a property that had been not condemned but close to it, and we worked very closely with Max on Monday and Friday, and he is excellent. Just putting that personal endowment out there. The other thing is, item number 13.2, I agree with the clarifying guidelines as Gina had suggested. I would like to be involved in that. I spent a year, 9 months going and talking to all of the parcel owners downtown as a part of the local historic district that's on hiatus, but we're going to get back to you. So I do think that the things that were just mentioned are great. The other thing is coming up on this Friday at 5:30 is the Join the Celebration. I'm reading the email that was sent out. The Downtown Ojai Historic District has been placed on the California Register of Historical Resources. A dedication plaque, a very heavy dedication plaque, will be unveiled by the City of Ojai City Council and Historic Preservation Commission this coming Friday at 5:30 p.m. right there at the corner by Ojai Village Pharmacy. And we'd love you to be there and to enjoy that time. Item number 3.
There's props.
Props. Item number 3. I wasn't gonna. My wife's like, "Are you gonna wear your full jail suit?" I said, "No, absolutely not." But I do have these, and I did get 2 items. I brought these tonight because I needed to fit the chief of police, because he's agreed to be at the jail with me. So I'm going to arrest him. He can arrest me. We're going to take pictures so we can send them to our wives. We know each other, and it'll probably float around the church too on what awful people we are, but not like that. So again, Ojai Day coming. There are going to be 3 locations that we're in. We're in the Ojai jail. It's going to be wonderful. One of the things Gina has done in working with Roger Conrad at the Ojai Valley Museum are these banners that are there. And so there'll be 3 places: the jail, a booth, and then over at the Ojai Valley Museum. So again, we invite you to come see our booths, come get locked up in the jail. We will have Richard Francis back again this year, and only he will tell you which room is haunted. So keep that in mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Akins. Larry Steingold, please.
Hi, Larry Steingold. Code compliance proactive approach. I think it's great. Okay. If you, the chief of police is doing 20% enforcement and 80% education still. I think that could be a way to go. Also, inoperable vehicles. When we first got here, there was 2 years ago, there was a vehicle parked on the street. They put a sticker on the car, and then they either towed it or it went away. So being Ojai community oriented, maybe a sticker on a car that says, "Hey, you got 24 hours to move it, or it's going to be crushed," or wherever. I just at least give somebody, because inoperable and sold.
I understand. We get what you mean.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a little light here. Okay. Unpermitted construction activity. We all know why that happens, because fees are too high and permitting takes forever. So if we could lessen, and I know we're trying to get more fees, but I think one of the reasons that happens is that people just don't want, the fees are too high. And a lot of the planning, and that's what they're motivated. If the fee, that's one of the reasons why people do unpermitted construction. Okay, that's a fact. Okay. Are any of the problems going to be retroactive, such as doing things in the what do they call it, city space, the first 5 feet, public right of way, like people are going to have done things in public right of ways. Are those things grandfathered, or are they going to be forced to pull them out or do things with them? The idea of a blight ordinance is a slippery slope, because it can be used to do things that aren't really proper. Well, it's only because they do it for economic reasons, so I would not have a blight ordinance. Could you please ensure that Max and the new person wears a badge and a lanyard with an ID on it? Because I ran into somebody who said this guy yelled at him for something and said he was this whatever, belonged to the city, and had no ID. And other than that, I just, think it's a good thing to start being proactive, because you have to do something. I mean, people just take advantage, and nobody wants to be a snitch.
Plenty of people want to be a
Well,
snitch.
they do, but okay.
We don't want to encourage that kind of
No, not
interest.
at all. It's bad for the community.
Thank you, Mr. Steingold. Anybody online?
One moment, Mayor.
Thank you.
We have no raised hands on this item.
I wanted to say, Chief Jenkins, I think you just said it, but asking you more pointedly, you have set out to first educate, and you're moving more into the mild enforcement mode, is what I've noticed. And I had 2 people this past weekend say they had received a ticket, but they had received first a warning, and they did not fight the ticket because they knew they did something wrong. And actually, they really appreciated it. So the spirit was there. So I know it sounds so crazy, right? But what I mean is, I do like what I heard both from all the staff here, that the effort is compliance. And so that seems to be working very well with the effort you're leading on traffic, at least.
Yes, we're trying.
Now I see that.
Yes. So the motor officer did mention that he's getting to know, community members, and he's going to know if he pulls someone over the second time for the same violation, and he is going to issue a citation at that point. So
no, thanks. And I heard that's going to be the approach. Similar. There's going to be education first. Okay, cool. Other questions or discussion?
Yeah, I have just a couple of things.
Yep.
That I wanted to add to consideration, and that's, so with the expansion of the proactive enforcement, this might make our enforcement officer have to get up early on weekends, but I think we should be looking at enforcing the time for beginning construction and the use of power tools on the weekend.
That's good.
That's what I have at this point.
I was going to offer, this is, maybe it doesn't make any sense, but I don't know if a traffic officer that's just doing parking makes any sense at all or not. It certainly was here. Maybe it's so cost upside down that it doesn't make sense. But
That would be, we could bring that back as a concept review. That'd be separate.
Okay, fine.
Yep. If you guys want to do something like
Well,
that.
and that's what I mean is, if the proposal is something like, here are things we could look at, come back with a review, but that sounds like such a completely different thing. Is that what you're saying?
It's just in a different category.
Understood.
Yeah.
Great.
Because that person would probably end up being a contract add-on with our sheriff contract rather than a city employee that we'd be doing.
So
This isn't urgent, by the way, just an idea.
So currently we have a cadet working 20 hours a week. And when I came on, I noticed he wasn't doing any type of traffic parking enforcement. But he was directed not to do so. So then I'm like, well, we have this cadet. He's trained to do traffic, and like when I say traffic, it's parking enforcement. So the issue we're having, because we've never had a traffic cadet we don't have a vehicle for the person. So he was driving a marked truck, but it's just large. It doesn't make sense to, for him to be driving this big Ford F-150 around. So, and then now it went up to Lockwood Valley. So he doesn't have a vehicle. So if the city wanted to get, golf cart or something for this cadet, you'll have him for 20 hours a week
We do have a golf cart,
doing
actually.
enforcement. So this is new information.
Yeah, this is new for me too.
Yep.
Bicycles too.
Or a bicycle, yeah.
Love a bicycle. I mean,
yeah.
I do have one quick question.
Yeah.
Do I understand the law correctly that owners can use power tools on Saturday?
So, gas-powered
No.
cannot be used ever.
I mean power tools like a saw.
So owners can do their own construction on the weekends. They
Right.
can't have a contractor there on weekends.
Right.
But the hours of operation are still enforced on weekends, or still required on weekends.
They can't do it on Sunday though. There's no electric tools on Sunday, as I understand it, only on Saturday.
That's correct.
Thank you. Just want to make sure that I'm pulling out my chainsaw.
Yeah, not
My
on
electric
Sunday,
chainsaw.
only on Saturday.
My
I didn't
electric
know
chainsaw.
that.
Well,
Yeah, well, there you
I didn't
go.
know
now
that.
we all do.
I
Thank
use
you,
my
Lucas.
chainsaw on Sundays, but I won't now. I'm gonna use my hands. I mean, it's an electric chainsaw, but it's still loud. Anyway. Okay. Any other? Well, I'm very appreciative of this. I've had, I don't want to exaggerate, a half dozen people in the arcade businesses saying there are sandwich boards with people that aren't even near the arcade, not even close. So long time coming, and I'm very appreciative of this effort.
Also, I just want, I have this in my neighborhood that, for instance, trailers and boats that look dilapidated but are active get cited to move, and the nicer Airstreams are allowed to stay. And they're like, okay, that's not really very fair. So, And it's people, it's neighbors who are dropping a dime, or it's somebody who's selling their house, or whatever it is that they're doing. But I think to level the playing field is also really important, especially in my district, which is the downtown, which is, the older, more working class district, honestly. Yeah.
Something I'd like to add before you end is that there was a mention about early in the morning and also on weekends, and our code compliance officer is here one day over the weekend at least, and also he's in town around 6 a.m. So we do have really early morning and weekend patrol.
Super.
Just
Well, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Please, I second. Roll call, please.
What?
I have one, Mayor. I just have one question for
Yes, please.
Mr. City Manager and staff. Motion to approve, but has direction been received by staff? Should be included in a list in the motion.
Yes.
Approve the
to
recommendation?
return?
I'd
Yeah.
like to add to the motion to create as staff sees appropriate, or as staff, like you can have say over the design, but a one sheet or some kind of informational bullet pointed descriptions for our businesses of what codes, the codes that most, I'm sorry, let me just talk this out. I'll be fast though. So the codes that most likely get violated, and the ones that people might not know to adhere to. So one for the new residents coming in and one for businesses.
2 sheets, okay.
Yes, and when we talk to the chamber, and just that, and then we can talk about
Keep Ojai classy for residents and businesses.
Exactly.
Right, okay.
So there's a printed piece, but also a website.
Yes,
piece.
exactly. A website and a printed piece.
However, we've also added in 2 areas of proactive enforcement, construction times and power tools, and then I don't know if this is an area, but I just put trailer justice. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trailer justice is great.
Well,
Okay.
my second still applies. Is that clear?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Councilmember Rule.
Abstain.
Mayor Pro Tem Lang.
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman.
Yes.
Mayor Gilman.
Yes.
Councilmember Mang.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to number 14, concept review, broadband contract and micro trenching ordinance. Mr. Harvey.
Yes, thank you. And actually, I'm going to ask Mr. Hahn to come
Thank
up
you.
and join us. Thank
Super.
you, Mr. Hahn. Oh, sure. Mr. Hahn, I'm sure will be glad to give you a score update once he sits down. So everybody can
Thank you,
hear on the
Maya.
microphone.
So the score is final, 5-1 Dodgers.
All right. Thank
Now
you.
everybody's in a good mood.
And I know we also have representatives of Aspire here, who Mr. Hahn
wonderful.
will also introduce.
Super.
Take it away, Mr. Hahn.
Okay, so what we're here to do is seek council's direction on whether or not you would approve of us proceeding with a franchise agreement with Aspire Networks. And in addition to that, if you are in approval of it, we'll have to come back to you with an ordinance to allow micro trenching within the city right away.
I'm going to back it up just a little bit here, if that's okay. And I'm actually, I'm also going to ask Councilmember Rule to jump in. This is kind of a bigger, broader topic just for anybody who's listening. Since I got here, I experienced it myself as a resident. And so I knew it was obviously, if it's terrible for a resident, it's got to be just abysmal for a business. You know, the internet service was not good. And I had to take measures into my own hands and buy all these extra aftermarket products. And right in the midst of when I was losing my mind, I through Councilmember Rule, and I think there was another council member at the time that might have also been remotely involved. But there's countywide broadband effort to bring everybody into modern times with internet speeds and service. And so when we were initially walking down the path with the county, and again, I'm going to kick it to Councilmember Rule here in a second to expound upon that. But around that time, we also became aware that there was a regional effort from a private utility provider, I don't know what you'd refer to them as, categorize them as, provider, to do micro trenching to install broadband. And it was in Thousand Oaks. It was in Fillmore? No. Moorpark, sorry. And so we went out to see it ourselves. We actually did it, met with, and some of the representatives over here, met with the representatives. We saw them actually out in the field. We saw the micro trenching. We saw the equipment being installed, and it was very impressive. And we realized we had an opportunity, and I apologize to Aspire. This has really taken us a long time to come over here. But here we are. We're looking for your direction to approve of this concept, and it would be a franchise agreement for the entire city. It wouldn't be mandatory for residents to purchase a service, but it would be available to them, and there'd be benefits to the city, as there are with all franchise agreements. But this is just the first step. Are you interested in this? Yes or no? And we really wanted to have Aspire here so they could talk about what they're offering. James is key because there's a lot of benefit to the city and our operations, and he also is very knowledgeable in this area too. So maybe, James, you want to expound a little bit, then we can go to Councilmember Rule, then we can have the Aspire folks talk.
Yeah, certainly. So some of the benefits to the city are we're going to be able to have dark fiber between our facilities, which will allow us to use city-owned equipment to light up the fiber and have a private connection in between the buildings. We're also going to have internet drops to all our parks, and the idea with that is we'll be able to provide Wi-Fi to users of the parks. We're going to also provide dark fiber to all the parks, so we can expand our security through our in-place security camera network. Currently, only Libby Park is fully in the camera network. Then here at this building, we'll have a broadband internet connection that will be several times faster than what we currently have. Although what I'm proposing is that we keep our spectrum as a backup, because everything has become so reliant on internet. If we lose internet, our phones are gone, our word processing, everything is gone. So
thank you. Ms. Rule, yeah?
I was just going to give you a really brief update. I think potentially we should have just an item, where I can go over everything. But just to realize that we had been hoping that there would be money for build out coming from the state. It turns out that the state is really looking towards the unincorporated areas to fund, and not so much the municipalities. So basically Moore Park, which Aspire is doing, and also Ojai are the furthest along in, actually working forward with this. The thing I think that's really important is that most of the money, and I would like to actually give you guys a big rundown, but not tonight really. Most of the money is from the state is going to come in basically grants to the underserved, and the making digital literacy a priority. So once we have the fiber, it opens up a whole world for us to get grants. It's been incredibly difficult to get grants to actually build within municipalities, right? So it makes perfect sense that we would go ahead and do a franchise agreement to get it built, and then start looking for implementation and digital literacy and all of the things that probably there will still be an easier road to get funding for. So that's really my update. And I do want to at some point talk to you guys about what's going on countywide with VCOG and the broadband. We are, VCOG is taking the lead for the county as the convening organization. So an EDC is also part of the bridge between municipalities and economic development. So you know, that's also been really great. So that's my update for you guys, just to let you know.
Thank you.
That I support it completely, as does, you know, all the members of VCOG. They're like, move forward,
Okay.
you know, and because if we wait for the money from the state, who knows when. It's just not something that we can control. Anyway, so
That's
thank you very much.
useful. Thank you. Gentlemen, please come up. Thank you.
James, Ben, we appreciate the time.
Thanks.
So just piggybacking off what James and Ben were presenting, we are going to build out a citywide fiber network. We will not be cherry picking, you know, the more successful neighborhoods. This will come at no cost to the city. Furthermore, there will be a success-based revenue share that you guys will share in depending on how well we do. That revenue share and the citywide network will be protected by a performance bond plus insurance. What's at risk to you guys? It's very minimal. This is a non-exclusive franchise agreement, so that does allow other providers to come into market. This is why it's a beneficial market for Aspire, is because there are no other fiber optic providers that are in the market currently. So our speed to market and our approach is just that. We want to be the first ones in, and we want to get a fiber to every single home, as well as provide connectivity to all of your city locations, which will be at a discounted rate. Provide dark fiber for interconnection and dark fiber to your parks for surveillance and whatever other IT applications that you may have. Construction will be notified to all the homeowners as we are progressing throughout the city. We suspect anywhere from a 6 to 8 month timeline to build out the entirety of the city. And yeah, open to questions. Anything specific that you guys may have on from a question standpoint?
The trenching is just, how deep is the trenching, just so everybody understands?
It depends on the street and the conduit count. Arterial streets are typically 16 inches deep. Residential streets are typically 12 inches deep. The main thing and I guess the big takeaway is our cover. So the restoration process is 8 to 10 inches of cover, which is a 4 to 6x slurry, with a Maxwell cap that goes on top of the trench line.
You want to speak a little bit, because it's quite striking when you see it out in the field. You want to talk about the width and how long it takes you to do this?
Yep. So typically we are moving anywhere from 2,000 feet to 2,500 feet a day per crew. What that entails is full construction and final restoration. So once the concrete slurry cures, we come back about a week later to apply the Maxwell cap, which is a black strip of essentially a Mastec D product, which is almost like an asphalt that goes right on top.
And do you want to speak to where this goes in the street?
Adjacent to the curb and gutter, typically. There are a few deviations depending on existing utilities, where we have to offset anywhere from 6 to 18 inches off the curb and gutter.
So it's on each side of the street?
It's on each side of the street.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Obviously, within reason, we're servicing each lot line of every home. So we'll be on the side of the street where there's homes. So in residential areas, yes, both sides of the street.
Sorry, go ahead, please, Andy.
You're going to extend that to all the streets without regard to somebody having signed a contract.
Correct. So we will be dropping off a conduit to every lot line, and then once the homeowner takes service is when we go to the chamber, we blow the fiber to the homeowner and provide service.
And then if another fiber optics vendor wants to come in, what happens with the micro trenching situation?
So that's the benefit of being first in. We like to take the adjacency to the curb and gutter. If somebody else wanted to come in and propose micro trenching, they would have to offset and have a separation from our utility. And
Well,
from existing,
just explain what that is, the offset and
so
separation.
they would not be able to share or joint trench where we have our infrastructure.
Right.
So if they wanted to go back a curb and do a different construction method, like a directional drill or a missile, they would have that option. If they wanted to do strictly micro trenching, there would be a separation from where our infrastructure is.
Okay.
What's maybe you can't know this yet, but when someone pays to have your service,
Yep.
what's the range of the cost?
So we have a tiered plan price,
Mhm.
anywhere from 500 megs, which is the base price, is $60 a month, all the way up to 5 gigs. So it depends on what the homeowner or business.
What was the bottom amount? Did you say 60?
60
Okay.
for 500 megs.
Uh-huh.
Yep. 80 for 1 gig.
Mm-hmm.
100 for 2 gig. And what's our 5? Yeah.
180 for the 5 gigs. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
So if you're in an affordable house, like a deed restricted area, you get $30 off.
Correct.
Okay. That's interesting.
And a lot of these details will come back to you.
Yeah.
When we do the franchise
No,
agreement,
that's great.
of course. So
Wonderful.
Yeah, we have the agreement drafted, and it's already been shared with the team here,
Mm-hmm.
as well as our construction methods and catalog, detail catalogs.
Mm-hmm.
So that information has been shared, and
Great.
obviously these guys have come out to Moore Park. They saw the construction. It is an assembly line essentially. Like I said, we were doing 2,000 to 2,500 feet a day,
Mm-hmm.
and that's full construction where we're
Mm-hmm.
putting our restoration down same day.
Super. Yes.
So I recently read an article about a city that had fiber optics, and there was vandalism, and the fiber optics were cut. What kind of security measures do you have in place to prevent something like that from happening?
Full redundancy. So each of our passive cabinets have a redundancy aspect to it. So if one of the legs get cut, the network does not go down.
Also, I saw similar. Those were all hung off the poles. So it's people trying to steal copper. They don't realize that it's worthless to them, and they cut it down.
Correct. Yep. And
Right.
This might be more for staff, but what's involved with the ordinance?
I can speak to that. So you have right now a moratorium on basic digging into the
Recently paved
digging,
roads.
Yeah, recently paved road. Lindy took a lot of care.
I remember that.
Yeah. So
And she's right there with her hand up.
yeah, so we would need to make a slight adjustment to the ordinance to allow this as an exception. Lindy, I can defer to Lindy. Her and her team have looked at what they're proposing and came back that it was reasonable. Lindy?
Good evening, all.
Hey.
Yes, I concur with what you're saying, Taylor. Also, I wanted to add that I had the opportunity to go out to Simi Valley and meet with this team and look at the actual micro trenching. It's amazing.
Cool.
I don't think we're going to have any problems with our newly paved roads. The other sort of interesting thing, as mentioned, the trenches are on the outside of the paving usually, so it's between the curb and gutter and the paving. We have a lot of streets without curb and gutter, so there's even the possibility that some of these micro trenches can be outside of the asphalt. Outside of the asphalt, but within the right of way. So I think it's a really really cool technology that we can really take advantage of.
Yeah, so essentially it's just a different construction method when there is not a curb and gutter.
So what about like if there's roots? What do you do?
We get through the roots, so but based on the tree line, we typically like to stay away from. Obviously, we don't want to kill any trees, but we would either directional drill beneath them, or we would reroute and go around it. So we stay out of the drip line of the trees typically.
And if I may add too, Public Works would probably be very involved in when they come out, and we would make sure that the trees are protected, the roots are protected, and again out of the drip line.
Thank you. I have no public comments.
And no raised hands on Zoom, Mayor.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, well, I just want to say I came by your booth at the California League of Cities,
Cool.
and I actually took some information and talked to someone there, and I was really impressed with your company, and I think this is a model that could work. And I'm also on the EDC board, and so I've been following that progress. And I also listened to, at the California League of Cities, a whole talk about cybersecurity and cybersecurity in natural disasters specifically, and emergency situations. And so I am in support of moving forward with this. I learned a lot about this
That's great.
subject.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I kind of look to the Moore Park IT guy, Brian, and he's all over it. So he's already said there's, Spectrum, and you guys are, it's not in a bidding war, but, we're basically, we now have an option that is so much better. And that's what you want. I've been involved in cooperative municipal builds. And if we had had an option like yours, it wouldn't have taken us 6 years to put together 26 small towns that could build their own network.
Yep.
We just didn't have you guys in Western Mass. So.
Yeah, and to add color to that, we in Moore Park almost have a 20% take rate, and our network's not even live. So it is a huge.
Yeah.
It's big to the community, and the community is looking for this.
Wonderful.
Yeah, agreed. So I just.
Well, I will move that.
I just wanted to.
Well, go ahead, please.
I just wanted to ask a quick question.
Please go.
Tonight, we're just authorizing you to put together the nuts and bolts. No final decision is made until it comes back to us. Okay.
That's all. That's what I propose is that we direct the city manager to negotiate a broadband franchise agreement with Aspire and return with the first reading for the microtrenching ordinance to allow microtrenching in cities right away. Need a second from
I'll
someone.
second it.
Okay, wonderful.
Roll call, Mayor.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lang.
Yes.
Councilmember Mang.
Yes.
Councilmember Rule.
Abstain.
Councilmember Whitman.
Yes.
Mayor Gilman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.
We're very excited about this.
Thanks, James.
Thank you very much. Thank you for hanging in there, Ms. Billings. We're on item 15, fiscal year-end report and carryover requests.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, I am pleased to be bringing you the report to request a quick review of how 24-25, fiscal year 24-25 is shaping up, and a request to bring carry forwards, meaning budgeted items that were in 24-25 but were not quite completed, forward to the 25-26 year. We are, as you know, finance has undertaken a lot this year, and we are ahead of schedule for where we've been in the past in getting the books closed, but they aren't quite as together as I would have liked to have shared a full report on the 24-25 outcome. That will be coming to you at a later date. At this point, the revenues are on track. So all your revenues have come in on track, and your expenses are under budget. And some of that is a reflection of very conservative budgeting in the past. There are departments that have saved a lot of money, maybe as a result of the budget being a little larger than we needed it to be in some areas. And rather than speak to specifics tonight, what I wanted to speak to is the carryovers. So these are projects. Lindy's on the line there to speak to her projects. There are some projects like the overlay that was not completed at June 30th, and then they carry some more of that work forward into the new year, so they need some money to complete that project. There are some projects in the city manager's office. They're working on a personnel handbook and some other items that they're using consultants for. Didn't get that quite completed in 24-25, and they need some of that carried forward to 25-26. Within finance, we've been working on the purchasing system, purchasing policies, some other travel policies and different items like that. Again, not quite finished. So we need the authority to bring that forward into 25-26. Are there any questions at this point?
Yeah. So how does that impact our budgeting for 2026?
right now, it's a little early in the year to see everything, but the 25-26 revenues should be ahead of schedule, both in the interest income area as well as your transient occupancy tax. As you know, we did not budget for the opening of a new hotel, and we have a new hotel that's opened. We also, at this point, are able to see that we've had some salary savings. There's been positions that have gone unfilled. Or they are currently being filled, but we're now into the middle of the year and we haven't had those filled. Everything else is tracking along as it should be. And so you have the capacity to absorb this money into the new year.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
I just have a question about the $2 million, the expenditure, $2 million less than was anticipated. So that rolls over into the Delta Fund. That and what are the ramifications of that? I mean, we're in another couple of months, we'll be at the mid-year point for this year, still not clear on last year. So I'm wondering, how that actually all plays out. Like, we now have $2 million more in the reserve fund or the Delta Fund.
You should end the year with $2 million more than you anticipated, yes. And I purposely preface that with should, because we have not undergone the audit, and I want to make sure that everything has been reviewed, although I have done a lot of analytic review with staff and looked for the large contracts and all the large expenses, and that's where we're at. So typically, with a well-run organization, what would happen is that staff would come to you at this time of year with a pretty good, analysis of where we were. We've already undergone the mid-year audit and pretty well be through with the final audit for the year. Books will, and this is what we've passed, this is what you've passed in your financial management policy. Books would be closed by December, and the audit report would be back to you in a finalized report by January, in which case then you would do your mid-year. In the February timeframe, finishing up, so you'll have all that information available to you for doing your audit. City revenues come in at a very late date, like all this way into September. Almost every revenue we've received goes back to June of last year. And then the expenses pretty well truck along. Your largest expenses, your salary, your sheriff bill, those bills are monthly, so they're being paid out monthly. So it's difficult before about this time of year to even get a picture of how the year is going. That it's a frustrating process, but it's a reality that your revenues really trail. Your sales tax for the quarter, we're just getting ready to have our first meeting for the quarterly sales tax. I believe it's scheduled for early November. That's as soon as that we have an analysis by the teams as to how this revenue is going, and we can see if the checks are really under, or if transient occupancy tax isn't coming in at all. We can sense what's going on with the economy. Everything I've heard, I did listen just recently to a forecast by HDL, which does our sales tax, property tax, and will now be working with our business licensing, and they have stated that the economy is on track at this point. That's
so that time
good
frame you
news.
just offered, that feels comfortable that we'll be able to meet that. So
You will be meeting that.
Okay.
We've been,
Great.
I know that we haven't been able to share a lot of news with you, but we've had several success stories. And in December, we are planning to talk about how the Kroll report went, how the Ide Bailey report that was posted, all the things that have been done there, and to talk about the award the city just received for its investment policy, and hopefully other good things will be forthcoming.
Great.
Shouldn't this have been brought, though, to the budget committee at our last meeting? We were told that we would see something, and it seems to me that this is like it should have gone to the budget committee first and then brought to us, where so you could make the adjustments and everything.
Whether or not it goes to the budget committee is at the option of the committee having the next meeting.
But wasn't that discussed at the last meeting? You said that you would bring it forward. I believe it was October. I could look at my notes. So was this, right? Do you recall that?
So what I'm thinking, well, I think one thing that occurred was we were trying to decide how frequently to meet. My recollection is we are not meeting in October, or we did not meet in September. There's a possible meeting in October, I think, that we're pondering. Am I getting that right, Mr. Harvey?
Well, my notes said that we were looking at an October-November meeting. I don't remember specifically talking about this item, but I could have forgotten that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, not the carryover specifically, but you wanted to see a mid-year budget. Now, what I recall is that this was a concern that I was trying to express. As we go through the goals that we have, and we are now spending more money in some of these goals, that even by October, November, I recall saying we may not have an accurate snapshot of our budget in the moment because we're not even done looking at the goals. So I do recall that. So it does seem like an interesting practice if we could say, I know we have goals coming in one of our next items. At some point, it would be great to get a very solid snapshot of not only last year, but where we're at this year. So that is a goal for the budget committee, it does seem to me. Yeah. Does that resonate with what you were thinking?
A little bit.
Okay.
And if I may, when at many communities, when the audit report is released, then the auditors can give you an update and an overview of that audit report, and any findings that they came up with, and that would hopefully in the future be done in like the October-November timeframe with the release of the report, because you have to get it all printed and finalized coming out in the December-January timeframe. That would be a good item to bring back.
Okay.
Another item would be when the auditors are selected, if you want to meet with that audit firm and go through those items, and then look at how the year has shaped up and have a discussion on those items.
Okay, then I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm just curious if I could ask, like, these account numbers, I don't know what they're for. Can you tell us what those different accounts are for?
Yes, and I apologize. I did not realize that the account number description had been not shown on there. So the first number, that $60,000 is contract services within the finance department, or again related to the policies that are being written, the purchasing program, and those items that are being worked on. The contract services in 1102 represent contract services in the city manager's office, and that is for, they're working on the personnel handbook and some personnel rules. If there's further questions on that, I don't have them all. I know the 278,000, Ms. Palmer is on the line there, so she'll put her hand up if I say this wrong, but that is for overlay. And then the next item, I believe, is she's got her hand up already. I've messed it up. Okay, Lindy.
Christy, you did not mess it up, but I just wanted to make a couple of points. The lower three numbers, the first three digits, the 031, are capital improvement. That's the capital fund. So those are for capital improvement projects. So those are all mine. The 278,000. And I also just wanted to make the point, these are not new appropriations. These were appropriated in last fiscal year by you folks, by the city council as part of our CIP. And capital projects oftentimes span 2 fiscal years or more. So these are the carryovers from what you appropriated last fiscal year in the CIP, and the projects carried over into this fiscal year. So we have the design of 1 year of our overlay projects and the construction of the prior. The other one is for the ATP project, phase 1 and phase 2. So we finished the construction of phase 1, starting on the sort of concept design of phase 2. So that's what we're talking about here. Again, no new appropriations, just appropriations that have carried into the next fiscal year.
Thank you. So when you say, Ms. Billings, that expenses for the year may be 2 million, in the black at that kind of thing, but when we look at a project like this that does not get completed in a year, it's appropriated and moves into the next year. Not like we're all going to leave the meeting thinking we have $2 more million to spend, but more like we understand there's some money that was allocated and unspent, and this comes out of that. You could, in the larger picture, it's just being spent now.
Yes.
Okay. So it's not only a savings from last year because we're spending it now. Okay.
Some of that is being spent from that general fund source, and some of these are being spent from other sources in the fund, in the capital projects fund. Some of that is funded with your Measure C funding, and some of that is funded with general fund, and some of that is funded with your street and road money.
Understood.
Your gas tax. So.
And I'm hearing you say potentially once we get the final, we'll know there actually might be some savings where they didn't only just come into this year, but we may be under budget, if I heard you correctly.
We are going to be under budget, and we will have savings.
That's great to hear.
I just don't want to have an exact number at this point because this year the books were prepared by several individuals and not just by one team. And I want to make sure they've been audited, not for anything misappropriated, anything of that nature, but audited to make sure that we've captured all the expenses, all the bills are in there, and everything is in the right account.
Thank you.
So then would the money for the security for the unhoused, would that come from the 2 million, being that wasn't in the budget?
I believe we made an appropriation already. I thought we made an appropriation already for unhoused security. Did we not? Okay, yeah, that entire item's coming back.
Thank you.
Okay, so what Ms. Palmer said about the capital improvement projects also applies to the top two accounts, which are things that we already allocated. We already approved the funding for the financial services, and then we already approved the funding for the work in the city manager's office. So if I understand it, the only thing that's in here that is not like just kind of carrying over things that we've already approved is the allocation of the cemetery fund money.
Yes.
And what was the amount of that?
$7,500.
Okay. I'm just getting it all straight in my head.
Yes.
That's a nice summary. Thank you. That's appreciated. Any other questions? So I guess I just want to reflect, Ms. Mang, something you said, which is, I am also eager to both understand the prior year and to understand our state with your confidence in this year. And I'm hearing you say that's coming, and that's great to hear.
Yes.
Okay.
So then when would a date be to bring this to the budget committee? Can we get that on the books? So we know?
This means what? The
Carry
2024 the 2024-25 budget end. So I'm hearing you say it's not till December.
December is what?
December would be a good date.
Okay.
Yes.
No, but that's good. That gives us something to say when the December meeting comes, where is it at?
Yep.
So that's our item for December. So we can schedule the meeting around when you think it will be ready.
Right.
So this is a little bit like what Congress does to us about once a year, where they say, hey, we already spent this stuff.
Right.
Now we want you to approve, the reconciliation of this money. And somebody screams about, we're not doing that. And well, we already spent that money.
You spend it some other way.
Basically.
I do have one card. Mr. Miley, please come up. Thank you.
This seems like a very important key report to have oversight on. End of the fiscal year and carryover. To me, it seems that our Budget Finance Committee should review this first. If I were a council member, I would want to get the Budget Finance Committee's opinion and review report before getting involved. I have them. I created them. What are they going to meet? Well, set a meeting. Set a special meeting. You set special meetings all the time. So, the first reaction would be $2 million. Wow! We have a surplus. We didn't spend it. Maybe we should cut back on our TOT tax and get less money. But maybe we have not done something and spent money because we forgot to do it. Or we failed to remember that we should have built that. Uh-oh. Don't tell them. It would seem that the question should be asked, is there something we should have done during the year to involve that $2 million that we missed? And I think the Budget Finance Committee should have an opportunity to deal with that before it comes to the council. Thank you.
Just for clarification, the $2 million surplus is not what we're discussing tonight. It's just the carryover of these items. And that would be an interesting item for the Budget Review Committee to see, in my opinion. How did this savings get realized? That would be a great conversation for us to have, seems to me.
Will definitely be a good conversation to have. And as soon as the audit has had a chance to settle and review those numbers, then it will be something that can be brought before the
Thank you.
committee.
And that amount of money hasn't been characterized at this point as a surplus or anything, right?
No.
It's something that we're going to be addressing.
That's right.
Where it belongs, if to the extent it's there.
Yes.
So okay. Just to let me see if I understand this.
Mm-hmm.
We have a $2 million surplus, but it's not really a surplus because we haven't spent things that we thought we were going to spend, that we are still going to spend on, which will decrease the $2 million. Is that correct? That it's just money that our expenses haven't all come in yet. Am I understanding that correctly? So this 2 million could be whittled down to 1 million.
If I could, may I offer something? It seems to me that the $2 million is really distracting because $2 million is a lot of money. What is being asked for right now is I'm seeing $103,060,000 that you're asking to carry over into this year, and then as Mr. Whitman pointed out, $7,500 is the new part for the cemetery. So the conversation around what is the 2 million, you are telling us when the audit is done, we can have a detailed conversation about what that came from.
Yes.
So
okay, so this is not really a fiscal year-end report.
That I would agree with that.
Okay, so that's the first thing. It's not really that. So don't expect to get a year-end fiscal report.
That
okay.
the part that might have been omitted possibly.
Yeah, I mean that's
Mm-hmm.
and so from what I do understand here is that we have allocated this $460,000, but we didn't spend it. Therefore, we want to roll it over, carry it over to the next year so that we can spend it. And we will try to figure out how and where that shows up in the budget next year, which will only be more confusing, I'm sure. And the $2 million.
She's saying she's saying it will absorb that dollar amount will absorb in our current budget. So
that $2 million
no,
will absorb
for the
in-
460.
Oh yeah, no.
That's so that's what I was trying to say. In a way, talking about the 2 million is not useful.
Yeah,
at
the
the moment.
460 is just going to be rolled over to next year.
And that's all that's being asked for today. But your point, I agree with, if I'm understanding you right. Receive the preliminary fiscal year-end report. I would have omitted number 1, and I'll say I'm waiting till December to get the audited that she has confidence.
To see if the 2 million is okay.
Or
so
just
just
what's the
ignore.
state?
Should just ignore the 2
So
million.
the
Okay, so
motion
why,
is
that's very
gonna-
difficult to say. Just ignore the 2 million.
Uh-huh.
It isn't really a year-end report.
Right.
And we just want to carry over $460,000 to the next year.
Mhm.
We already have the plan for spending it. And don't ask if the capital improvement money is part of that 2 million. Okay.
So we'll talk
Yeah.
about the 2 million later, is what we're saying.
Okay.
So
We're putting a pin in it, but focus on the carryover right now.
So we're approving 2 and 3,
Mm-hmm.
and the way I understand the reference to the $2 million is that there's this large amount of money that doesn't make this a difficult decision in terms of, are we going to be able to
That's it. Okay.
absorb this money within the carryover they're proposing?
That's
that
why
is
it was
precisely
included.
why it was included.
Thank you for that clarification.
And I apologize for the brevity of the
No worries.
fiscal year-end report. I am accustomed to being able to have a better analysis at this point, but I just didn't want to provide you with information that I didn't have a thorough review of. And I want to make sure that when you're given information, it is always accurate.
Thank you.
So that is why we're putting that on hold. That is why we will put the budget committee on hold for a minute to have an exact review. Do I feel comfortable that it's in that neighborhood? Absolutely. I have done a thorough review of the general fund.
Thank you.
I feel very confident that we're in that direction. Thank you.
That's useful. Do you want to make a motion, Mr. Whitman?
Move that we approve recommendations 2 and 3.
I second.
Roll call, Mayor.
Thanks.
Councilmember Mang.
No.
Councilmember Whitman.
Yes.
Sorry. Mayor Pro Tem Lang.
Yes.
Mayor Gilman.
Yes.
Councilmember Rule.
Abstain.
Motion passes.
Okay. Our final item for the night, City of Ojai color palette and logo selection.
Mayor, I'm going to kick this over to you and the Mayor Pro Tem.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Well, no. I was asking. So, thank you. So if you have it in front of you there, the computer screen's actually, the printout's a little dull, I would say, and it's missing a little bit of yellow there. But so we basically met with Drew Pepe Smith. We had ideas. We wanted to bring something forward. If you recall the last time, there were some different color palettes we weren't sure about, and then there was the mountains that had the little creases on the mountainside going into the word Ojai. None of us were crazy about it, if you recall that conversation. So we went back and said, we really liked one thing that was in that original packet, and that was the circle. If you look at your 1C and 2C, we really liked the tower and the tree. So we thought that circular logo really had some potential. So we asked, could you go back and develop these further? And we narrowed it down to a couple of color palettes based on what we heard from you guys. One was earth tones that you'll see in the number 2, and then the tones that were from one of the original ideas and reflecting our current colors was in number 1. So we're, I don't want to speak for you, but we're happy with any of them. We think they're great. We think anyone would work pretty well, small, large, etc. And we're here to get your feedback if you think these are worth going with, and you know what we want to do there. But add to it, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing, and
Yeah.
that is that when we met with Trepepi Smith, we really talked about who Ojai, the character of Ojai, what we wanted to communicate with this. And so there's a lot within these logos that capture the spirit of our town. And it was really nice working with them because we had a good dialogue, and we really felt like it was important to give you all choices so that the whole decision is coming from the council. It's a council decision and not just from our own personal opinions or thoughts. So I just wanted to include that there was a lot of this was a conscious project.
And just one more little thing. So if you see that the tower is sort of offset to the right there on all the options, from the conversations we were having, we're trying to say, okay, what's iconic about Ojai but not overdone? But, you know, this tower obviously is iconic. But then we thought, having it not be completely centered and being off, it gives you some sense of adventure and youth and all that kind of stuff. So we thought, this feels like the right combination of adhering to what we have been and also this view to excitement and potential. So that was part of our decision making as well.
Yeah, and you might not notice it, but the rays in the sun could also be the moon's rays, but they give homage to Libby Bull as well.
Sure.
So they capture the artistic experience of being here, and also just we wanted it to represent the community.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really partial to that seal. That continues to be our official seal, right? This is for other, these proposed graphic proposals are for other communications other than official.
If I could
But
jump in.
but I don't have real clarity on where that distinction
Well,
is.
because it's a little bit subjective, right? So the seal is your official city emblem, right? If you're going to have a proclamation, if you're going to have there was a legal document that needed something, you know, that would be, and maybe, you know, a certain letterhead would it be appropriate to have the seal only. But there may be other types of communication that you want to send out with the logo. Note cards, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you want to have a flyer. Maybe you want to consider rebranding your vehicles. Maybe you want to consider some of your uniforms. Those are all areas where you have an option. And the nice thing about having a logo, when you have a seal on, let's take clothing for example. I mean, it loses some of the when you have all that going on in a small embroidered piece, you lose a lot. If you have something that's a little more simple and bold, that's it's more clear. So it's you know, there definitely are times when you only want to use a seal, and I couldn't imagine, like, if you dedicated a public building, you know, and you're gonna have a plaque, you would have anything but the seal on it. You're not gonna lose that. This is coming from the seal. In fact, the colors are all drawn from what you see in the seal. That's how they arrived upon those. So it's just a way to further expand your branding. I could also see this in like email communication. This could be, you know, and if whatever the option the council picks, Pepe Smith would then next develop what's known as a style guide, which would show you, okay, here's your letterhead, here's your PowerPoint. We would have official versions, templates that we'd be using. So, you know that it was, and it would be recognizable. Oh, that's an official Ojai communication piece. I recognize that style. That's their logo. That's why that PowerPoint has that.
Just to add to what you're saying, looking at a lot of the logos from places like OUSD and some of the other cities in our county, they've refreshed their brand, and it's a little cleaner. There's not so much going on. It looks better, smaller, things like that. So I think part of the effort is not to say, we're trying to adhere to tradition, but also seem fresh. I think it's that both of those things at once is the attempt.
Right. So most modern cities have both a logo and a seal.
To share, I know it's a lot bigger city, but Pasadena, they're known for the Rose Bowl. And so their PowerPoint presentations have a logo and it incorporates a rose and it has their very specific color scheme. So when you come across a PowerPoint from that, it's very obvious it's from them without much effort.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, my only real comment is that still want the seal to be for our most important documents. I don't have a problem with being more modern with some of those other.
You could even envision, and some cities do this, on the front of the business card, it's got your name and it's got the seal. Flip it over, and it's got the logo of that city on the back. That's how a lot of places do it, and they show their duality with that.
Yeah, but to me, it actually speaks to something we're in an interesting. Well, it's not like it's brand new, but we're in an interesting moment where we're trying to understand the life of residents, and we understand there's a tourist piece, and there's technology, and there's change, and so you're like, how do we hold on to what's really, really good here and acknowledge that change occurs? So let's embrace it in the right way. That seems to me we're trying to do both of those all the time, like every day. Now, that doesn't mean one of these logos does that. This is an attempt by our provider with our guidance to try to do that. We did show it to people when we had meetings. We did show it to younger people, and they definitely liked it, and they gave us choices and guidance. So, just what that's worth. People who work here in town.
And I take it that since the report is from the two of you, and you've made a single recommendation, there's agreement in that recommendation.
Well, this is what a good designer, this is just from my own practice, is don't offer anything that you're not happy with any of the choices, right? And so when we narrowed this down from all of the choices, we thought, these are the two color palettes, we like them both. These are the logos that we like both. I'll speak for myself. The middle one is a little bit like Ojai Unified uses a similar tile shape, so if I had to throw one out, it would be the middle. I'd go for the circle. But, and myself personally, I like the color palette on the top, but I'm happy with both.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I like the circle just because it communicates unity. But I'm aware.
I know, Mr. Miley, I know you want to come up and talk.
But we both agreed we'd be happy with any of them, and we really felt like this had to come from the body of the council.
Yep. Why don't you come talk now, Mr. Miley? You should sit in the front row.
And he couldn't sit next to his buddy.
Yes, sir.
Hi. Having the mayor and the pro tem mayor review and recommend is certainly worthy. But our art commission members are even better. This is a very key element in Ojai's branding, visual remembrance branding. As an example, on the wall where I'm sitting, there's a picture that's mounted. I tried to take it off to show you, but I couldn't. It's from 2014 Ojai Day, and it has trees that are orange trees with oranges on them. So my suggestion for color is to include orange. So why are we just using a commercial business for our branding color, which is being discussed by two of our city council people with them, for their color and their shapes? Why do we have an art commission? Where are they? I'm surprised they're not here tonight. if I were on that board, I would even be here stronger. So I would hope that you would think that the one element of the entire history of the Ojai Valley is the art community. It's a major part of our history and of our being. And where are they in this discussion? So I would really hope you would involve them before you make a decision and get their consultation. Otherwise, why have them?
Thank you, Mr. Miley.
No hands on Zoom, Mayor.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I would just like to add to Mr. Miley's point that one of the reasons why the mayor and I worked on this is because we both have background in the mayor as an artist and graphic designer, me as an artist, and also as someone who has had a long career in branding and marketing and those kinds of services. And so we took the directive to work with Trepepe Smith, and that I just wanted to add that was one of the reasons why we were doing this.
Just another thing to add to that point. It's different than saying I designed the logo myself, which I could have done. I've done dozens of logos myself, but that's not what I'm interested in doing. It's working with our provider. Our design provider is Trepepe Smith. So we did use a business provider that we already have a contract with. Now, again, that's not the same thing as saying we have to choose one of these, but the process seems completely apt in my mind.
So I heard two things from Mr. Miley. You know, one was he thinks it should be reviewed by the Art Commission, and then number two, by the artist community. You know, if we're doing something artistic, I kind of would defer to those folks, as opposed to myself. I'm not saying this about either of you. So I wouldn't mind if I'm not saying we've set it up for an Arts Commission agenda item or anything, but potentially just.
If I could just jump in really quick. This is, I think, okay, I can understand why somebody would categorize this as art, but it's not art. Okay, this is communication. This is what this is about. This is about recognition, communication, you know, branding. It's not it's graphic design, but it's a very different thing than commissioning a piece of art. This is a totally different category, and when you design a logo, you're trying to achieve certain things and trying to incorporate elements, and it's not the same as drawing the Ojai Day poster. That's a very different thing. And the Arts Commission, that's not within their charter, you know, to impact the city's operational communication strategy and their messaging. That is not, and that's what this is about.
This
is really,
I was just gonna say, if to me, this is, I'm happy it is design, but it's art with a pointed purpose. It's not the same as creating a painting expressing yourself. But secondly, if we had a marketing plan and our marketing plan is promoting the city, we don't take our marketing plan out to the community to get feedback on our marketing plan. Like, that is an organizational function that we do. And I'll just share one little piece. I had a client that it was 12 women who put in $1,000 and bought a necklace. It's called Women of Julia. And I designed their book and their logos and all that. And I found working with 12 people, I should have charged them quadruple. It was horrible. It was like the worst thing I ever did in my life, but it was for a friend. Anyway, if we said we're going to have sort of a committee and decide on a logo, we're never going to have something. We're just never going to have it. And that's not, even the Art Commission doesn't, they're not all full of artists. Some are not visual artists, they're musicians. So it's, to me, in my opinion, it's a category mistake, but, and it's not their function. It's just to encourage art and culture in the community. So again, I'm not saying you have to choose one of these, but I would not say let's have, I would not go out to the community, the art community, for consultation on our market.
And I just want to point out that this is commercial art.
I agree.
It's not art. It's commercial art. It's not communication. It's commercial art with a communicative nature. So
we can disagree on that.
Okay. I mean,
I would just say it's not.
We can just
there's a difference
respectfully
between what
disagree.
an artist does
well,
for
I mean,
themselves.
it's commercial art. If someone says
Yeah.
I'm a commercial
But
artist,
it
they
is
design
communication too.
logos. That's
It's also
what they do.
communication.
But what's
Yeah,
at
for
stake
sure.
here? What's at stake?
Pardon?
Oh, what's at stake for what you're bringing up?
Just that I think that it's a mischaracterization to say that this is not art.
Fair
This
enough.
is commercial art.
Yeah.
That's my only point.
That's what most designers would say about their work.
Of course they would, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
you know?
It's just
Yeah.
it's pointed. It's not these paintings. It's something that has a purpose, right? It's
Commercial
It's
art.
more like the sign. That's more like the exit sign. Yeah, graphic design, which is fine.
It's all fine.
Yep.
It's all fine.
hmm
I do believe it to be art.
Yeah, no, I do too. So, anyway, do you want to go back to the drawing board? Does any speak to you? What are you guys thinking? Because we don't have to accept one. We don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the one that comes closest for me,
Mhm.
if this helps at all,
mhm.
I like the depiction of the tower in the far right one.
Mm-hmm. 1C, is that 1C?
1C.
Okay.
But I think the idea that you want to include yellow is fine. So I was kind of curious why 1C didn't have.
Because the
similar-
tree, having the tree there and the detail of more of the tower, we thought that option is a nice contrast to 1A, which is since you have a little bit more detail on one side, you remove some of the detail of the other.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it can't. We can try it.
I guess on 1C, I think the tower is more identifiable
Mhm.
as our post office
Mm-hmm.
than it is in 1A. And I agree with your comments about 1B. That we don't want to be too duplicative of somebody else. I'm also not crazy about the font,
Mhm.
but I'm biased because I end up dealing with fonts that are acceptable to lawyers and courts. And I may only be able to see through that lens, but I would hate receiving a letter from somebody in that font, and it would impact the way I think about them.
That's a really good point. So the logo font should not, like what you see there, it would not be your body text font, not at all. It couldn't be. And so you'd want
That would just be on the graphic design.
Sometimes that's up to us, but what we can decide is you might, especially because it's what's called a sans serif, it doesn't have those little edges like a body text, but you would generally try to set it apart. So if you were going to use that font somewhere else, you would use it very strategically, not as our new body text font.
So I'll weigh in.
Yeah.
I think that the ones 2A and 2B, they look, I don't think that it's as recognizable as, it looks like, basically a mosque or an Orthodox church.
Oh, that's
to me.
interesting. Yep.
That's what I saw.
I'm with you.
No, that's great.
Because it looked like the proportions were off.
Good feedback.
And while I like the, I'm not sure about the earth and the gold, but I like the two tones better than just the single tone.
Mm-hmm.
And I like having a tree there. I think that that's really, really important.
Cool.
And I like sort of the simplicity of it and the lack of busyness of it. With the rays coming out, I would prefer a tree over the rays, just as what is true and real about Ojai is our love and commitment to trees.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we also, we do use earth tones, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we do that. It's an Ojai thing. So mine would be 2C, basically, for those reasons, but I'm not object and or, married to any of them. That's just simply my opinion.
Yeah.
And offering it for what it's worth.
No, that's worth a lot. Thank you. Even making a decision with 5 people is hard. Like if you have a client, it's the client decides and that's it. I get the feedback I'm hearing is 1C or 2C. Whoa.
If I had to choose, it would be C. I'm thinking more 2C. I don't look at it and say, oh, wow, like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we've updated everything, whatever. I know we're into earth tones. These colors aren't grabbing for earth. You know what I'm...
You'd want to see some more earthy tones?
No, I don't even know if it's more earthy, but just something I was hoping, that it would grab you more. You know what I mean? If we're making all this change, spending this money, to have it on everything, I wanted to go, oh, wow, like, these don't do that for me. Just, you know what I mean? They're not bad, but it's not...
So maybe in the trying to capture the spirit of what is here and new, maybe you would say we've been too conservative, possibly?
And I don't know, because you don't want something busy. You don't want a lot where, you know what I mean? Or when I see like the starburst and all that, to me is too busy or whatever. So this is simple. It's nice, but it just doesn't. And I'm trying, I'm wondering with a little change of color.
So you like the 2C, like...
I like the C's, absolutely. I'm not a fan of the blue and the lemon or teal and lemon. That to me doesn't say Ojai. More geared towards the earth and the gold, but not, you know what I mean? Like, what are some more current options to keep it? You know what?
So I think 2C, which I agree, those aren't the colors that I would pick, but I think, so number one, I also was thinking mosque or something like that with A and B. But the positive about 2C over 1A is the 2 colors. And so, maybe, fiddle around with color schemes in 1C or 2C. And I'd also love to see 2 or 3 different options on the font.
Yeah. That's something we can do.
I like Google, I like the 2 colors.
Versus the one.
Yeah, but that's,
No, that's cool.
So you could make the tree green is maybe an obvious thing.
Yeah, well, there's even the green and the gold in that in the logo, or we could look at an orange option for Mr. Miley's point. Yeah.
So
it wouldn't depict the post office tower, but if you're being creative, you could even think about replacing the oak tree with an orange tree. But it would be a hard one to decide that an orange tree is more Ojai than an oak tree.
It also gets a little hard when the logo gets small. So you want to know that you can pull it off when it's small.
And then another thing too with colors, because I know seeing it like this, a printed copy versus what it's going to be there. So if there's any way to get like, here's what it's going to be instead of a copy, because sometimes color swatches make a big
they absolutely do.
difference.
So it's like bring the PMS book and say these are the colors.
If we're going to vote on something, I'd like to see the
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, thanks. No,
Yeah,
thanks. That's good.
Just the simplicity of it and the clear 3 items, all of them very representative of
Mhm.
Ojai. One is a structure, one is, an earth. They're both of them are part of the earth, but the mountains, the mountains and the trees. That's
Cool.
That's kind of what we are. We're the
I think
mountains
that's
and the
great
trees.
feedback. So we have kind of the general structure on the design. We can look at other color palettes and look at a few font choices.
And thank you guys for doing this.
Absolutely.
I know it's
It's
a
good.
lot.
Oh, no,
so
it's totally cool.
appreciate it. Sorry to pick things apart.
No. It's
Thank
awesome.
you.
It's totally
Thank
great.
you.
No, this is what we
Maybe
wanted.
it's-
We actually, this is what we wanted. We wanted it to be a council decision.
No, it's great. No, I would prefer that too.
Okay.
So we're gonna take that back. We'll contact them, Ben, and we'll copy you, and then yeah, that sounds good. Any council member reports? Yes, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we had an incredible time at the California League of Cities conference. Learned a lot and connected with some incredible people, and I brought back a lot of brochures for things for us for me to come to Ben's office and talk about. So thank you all for and thank you to the staff for coordinating that.
Absolutely. Just
Yeah,
a few things. Oh, go ahead. I'll
I
go after you.
also attended
Yep.
League of Cities, and there were some really good programs on legal issues from voters, the California Voters' Rights Act, and how the district versus alternative or citywide voting, and they had a lot to say about their ramifications there. Matt Summers presented with a panel on affordable housing, and he kind of featured a discussion about the Cabrillo project and how he was successful, or we were successful with getting community buy-in on that project. And there was one session that I went to that I really need to go to the website and dig out the materials, because I just took some notes, but it was presented by somebody about small cities and the things that you can do to compensate for the fact that you're a small city.
Oh, yeah.
They probably had 100 different ideas, and then they opened it up to the audience to offer things that those, your city has done. And it was something I'll share with Ben, and we'll see if anything is worth running up, running it past us.
Thank you.
And could I just
Yeah.
make a suggestion for future agenda items? Is there any way we could go through, Weston did share a list with me, I think it was the past couple months, maybe August and September, of things like as a council that we said, oh, let's, bring this back and all of that. So
we call that the report of reports.
Okay,
And
so
poor Weston, he is going to be incoming. There's a whole bunch of report items that are going to come out of this meeting that will add to that, and we're on our plan. I'm sorry to step on you. We're gonna send that out to all of.
Okay, because what I would like to do, instead of adding, if it's possible, instead of adding more things to the agenda, can we work off what we have, so at the end of the year we can say, look what we've done? Because it just feels like there's so much stuff, and we just keep putting it under the carpet, then it's like, shit, then we have, 14 things on a consent calendar.
Yeah, I
Right,
understand.
I think I would feel good starting the new year knowing this is what we said and this is what we've done, and
So I'm glad you brought this up. You're all going to get the working agenda and the report of reports, and wow, there's a lot in these
There's a
next
lot.
few meetings, and we're going to need. And so if you guys take a look at this, and if you say, no, we don't need to do that, or that's crazy, I'm not going to live through that meeting, just tell us that, because we've got like 5 meetings left till the end of the year, and holy cow,
Yeah.
it's like.
we still haven't finished our goals.
Luckily, those are on one of the meetings,
it
but I
is.
mean,
It's
to
on
your
the
point,
28th, I believe.
there's
Yeah, and I don't know if everybody's in agreement, but I think we
Well, I think,
would feel like.
I think it's a balance between the, you know, we have to weigh things that
21st.
have some urgent attention, even if they're new, versus getting things done that we have on the list. And
We would welcome your input.
you guys do that every 2 weeks.
Well, just to say also, not only that, but in addition, some of the things that we do on our regular agenda are goal items. But what we don't want to do, and I'm guilty of this too, is you have a really great idea and I go, oh, let's put it on the agenda, or I ask one of you, but we just got to stay focused and get through what we said we were going to do. I agree with that 100%. Great example, the nitrous oxide thing, right? Great idea, let's do it. That it's not as instant as let's do it. It takes their time. So we have to balance that and say,
Well, and it's really more at this point just clearing deck space.
Clearing deck
And
space.
it's not even like that takes. I mean, we could do that, but
No.
you guys. I mean, so that's where you guys could really be helpful to us.
Right.
If I could speak disrespectfully,
Yeah.
if we're, because these items are mostly coming to you because somebody or somebody's have said, "Yep, we want to do it."
Mhm.
So if there's any breathing room you see, because you guys have to live through these meetings too,
Mhm.
right? It's like we well. At a certain point, you know, your
Mhm.
brain is just done with the deliberative stuff, right? It's like,
no, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
If I might step back, I just had a council report. I did want to mention a couple of things to you guys so that you're aware of them. We have started our City of Ojai Student Council again. We've already had a meeting. We had 5 schools there. Basically it's going to be once a month on Wednesdays. The next meeting is the 21st. It's the, pull up my calendar real fast. The next meeting is Wednesday, the 22nd, in this room at 6 o'clock. I'm going to be asking all of you individually to come and present and talk about who you are, but if you want to come, just show up and come. But the idea, I wanted to let you know what is happening. So we get pizza. We invite all the schools to come. Typically it's juniors or seniors. Usually it's part of their city leadership. And there's a couple of volunteers who come, but we've had, city staff people come. We've had the police chief come in the past. Police chief going to come again. But I want a couple things that are coming. One is this idea in 2026 where there's a joint city council, student council joint meeting from like 4 to 6, where they tell us everything they are interested in and we take it all in. And I think that would be really wonderful. That's one. There's an MLK Day. It's the 19th of January. It will be in the bowl. The bowl's already reserved. This committee, the Youth Foundation, there's a whole committee meeting there. So just, that's in the works and that's a lot of fun. And also related, there's going to be 2 cleanup days that are geared towards students here that you heard from Kathy mentioning that here, and that was also good. And then finally, just so you're not surprised when you hear this, to be determined, but the farmers market that's on Thursdays right now at OUSD, we will be going into Libby Park to see if it's feasible for them to be in Libby Park on Thursdays. Just, you're probably hearing them talk about it. They're very excited about it, so that you're not surprised. It will come before us, of course. So just to say we're looking at the feasibility of it, but I don't want you to be surprised when you hear about that coming.
So is that something that
Yeah.
you've spoke with OUSD?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're happy to have them, and it's because of the housing that they're going to be doing. Soon it won't be a very nice place to have a farmer's market. It's not like it's urgently soon, but no, they're all on board.
And then
So-
when will we be getting our update on the
Mhm.
2 and 2 with OUSD and the workforce?
Good question. Yep, we have been talking. We've been talking with Sunny as well. Yep. So go ahead.
No, I think just the headline is that I believe Lucas has a meeting scheduled with her. I want to say it's either this week or next week.
Mm-hmm.
And so after, I think she wants to download with Lucas, talk to the 2 council members. So flash forward 2 or 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. But progress is being made. So again, progress to bring something to you potentially. So.
Yeah, and then
Mhm.
on the pool,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of, discussion taking place about the different ways in which the school, the city, the community through a nonprofit can collaborate to get the public into the pool.
Mm-hmm.
And when will
But it's taking time to figure out what's going to be feasible. I think Ben's got a plan.
There's a
to bring-
meeting this week.
Yeah.
Yep, towards the end of the
And
week.
we anticipate having a proposal coming before, this doesn't encapsulate everything that the council member is speaking of, but a proposal from the YMCA will come before this body for deliberation, I think, if not the next meeting,
It's
sorry,
the-
2 meetings from now.
Well, right now we have it as the 21st.
It'll probably be the 28th because they need more time to finish that
Okay.
proposal, but they are going to turn one into us, and it'll come
Mhm.
before all of you, and that'll be.
But
your
we
turn.
do have a big goal. I mean, it's saying what you already know, but we want to have that pool be public as soon as possible.
Right.
And even if that's not the permanent solution, it's the best one for now.
So the only proposal that would be coming before us is for the YMCA, not the nonprofit, community-driven idea, or that's it's a phased-in idea, or is that not going to come to us at all?
That's a great question. At this point, the only thing that we have for like a near-term thing is just the YMCA. It doesn't mean that that other item couldn't come before you, though. I just don't have anything.
They're not a nonprofit yet, of course, but there's an organization that may partner with them or want to engage with us even potentially about saying, sorry.
I hate to
No, let's stop.
lasso this in, but yeah.
Future discussion, but that's what's on the table at the moment.
So I would like to hear, where that stands in part when you bring that forward, where that other alternative stands, so that we understand what we're actually, what the options are. So if you could incorporate that would be great. Thank you. I think that it's worth knowing.
Yeah, to see where they're at.
And when I said there's all these parts happening,
Yeah,
I was
Yeah.
including, they have a part, we're gonna be able to talk about all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The pool
I
opening,
just want to
though,
make
was
sure that
fabulous.
it's a conversation that
Understood.
encompasses as much as is reasonable to encompass.
Sounds good. That's the end of my report. Anybody else?
There. No, I'm not even going to bother with my animal rights conference in Cambridge, other than to say that there are very many theories of rights that exist philosophically, and some of them work for animals, and some of them don't. But it was a group of academics, law professors, lawyers. The greatest thing that actually was there were very accomplished women about my age. For instance, the head counsel for the Canadian consulate in London, a law professor from Ireland, a judge, and all of them, women my age, have accomplished an incredible amount. And they were there to figure out how they could contribute to moving forward animal rights. Highly, highly accomplished in their field. So I was the only legislator there. Ojai is the only city that has an animal rights ordinance. And they were so grateful and appreciative to have had somebody somewhere, some council, to have moved it forward in that way. The only other is Ecuador, who have done it for their turtles. I mean, it has happened in other places. It's happened in India, and it's happened in other places. But yeah, it was really fun, and
Cool.
yeah, women unite, women lawyers unite, move forward.
Cool.
I do have future agenda items.
Okay, do you have a report? Anything you want to say? Okay, future agenda items.
I think we need to get back on the drone fireworks issue, because that's going to be in a blink of an eye. And we're hearing about, a major fire that was started with fireworks. So
I
on
concur
purpose.
that if we're going to do it, we better get started.
Yeah, and I think that we should do it, because this is the second or third year that we've not been able to deal with it.
Okay.
I would also, well, I'm going to put this one off till the next time, but everybody in the pickleball community is talking about a pickle bowl, which is the first annual pickleball tournament. And we'd like to start thinking about that and whether or not the city participates. It would be a fundraiser for the rec department, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe that will come to fruition.
And I would
perhaps.
say that could just be a special event permit through the
Okay.
city. That's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we've been talking, you know.
Absolutely. We
yeah,
could get that going.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. At Soul Park.
Yeah, at Soul Park.
Yeah.
Well, also potentially the athletic club, because they're building out all
Yeah.
of their
Mhm.
pickleball courts now. They
Yeah.
may even have lights.
Cool.
So, and it will be looking
Wow.
to raise funds for the rec department
Cool.
and also potentially to put some benches at Soul.
That's awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay. Yes, that's it. All right, meeting adjourned.